Well, happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan, great to be here with you. Long-ish week, I feel a little bit run down on Friday, as is typically the case. We do a lot of talking in here. We did a lot of talking yesterday. Holy smokes. Had a pretty interesting roundtable. If you missed it, you should go back and listen. Me and Tony Gwynn Jr. yelling at each other. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
Why do you both hate Tony Gwynn Jr.?
I love him. I have a man crush on him. That's how much I love him.
This guy over
but
here.
This one,
No. I'm with Woods here. I love Tony Gwynn Jr.
He's terrifying.
He hates us.
He hates us.
I mean, and I don't know that he
What does that say
personally
about you?
hates us. He hates our takes and opinions.
We're morons, which is fine.
Thoughts, mostly on the game of baseball.
Correct.
But probably on basketball and football as well.
Luckily for me, that's why I don't tweet about basketball or football, because I don't purport to know anything about either. I cannot speak intelligently about either of those. I've never really played them at any sort of level worth being like, well, blah, blah, blah. I mean, not that I've played baseball at a high level, but at least I've played baseball. But holy cow, it was great. And I'm sure Mike Shildt is going to light me up today at 9 o'clock this morning as well, when I bring up the exact same thing I brought up yesterday. But great to be here with you. That's really all that happened in sports yesterday was the roundtable. I did not see anything else. I feel a little bit in the dark. I know there was a football game. I think the Jets won it. But as far as baseball goes, didn't see anything. Nothing noteworthy anyway. So we'll try to piece together the next 3 hours and 58 minutes here on Ben and Woods this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Joel Embiid agreed to a 3-year
Oh, did he?
contract.
We'll probably
That's huge.
discuss that at length this morning.
Massive. Good for them. The Sixers.
Get one of our friends from Philly on, maybe, Paulie. We can talk about that.
Get a
break it
Phillies
down.
beat writer. Yeah. Because, I mean, literally, there's nothing else to talk about.
Contract extensions are always a funny story to talk about because you're literally saying, all right, nothing's changing. You're staying on this team and going to continue to play.
You make more money, though.
It's called getting a raise.
Yeah,
Let's get a raise.
They get more money, but in terms of like the narrative of the team, okay, we're not changing anything at all. So there's no discussion there.
Which is good, I think, if you're like, oh, good. Well, Joel.
Continuity.
Embiid's not leaving. Was he a free agent?
I think he was going into
free agent. Yeah, so they didn't want him playing on a 1-year deal, essentially. You can keep him there.
3 years, $193 million. Was that too much? Give us your thoughts. 833-288-0973.
I'll spend the whole day talking about Joel Embiid. You know I can, and you know I'd love to. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning to you.
How's everything?
I'm good. I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling a little run down on a Friday.
No, I don't really.
Long week.
It's been a long week. I feel actually pretty good. I feel pretty good. And it's probably based on my regimen.
Your regimen.
We talked about regimens yesterday.
Right.
I don't know. Oh, you said you had just gotten back from vacation. And you said, man, you're getting old when you're on a guy's trip. And, instead of talking about the things, let's be honest, that we used to talk about in our 20s and 30s, you start talking about your blood pressure and your blood pressure medication, maybe the colonoscopy you got, maybe the time you pooped in a box and it was too much and they sent it back to you, maybe the time you sent your own poop to yourself. These are all things that have happened. And you get out there and you're like, how you feeling? My back's a little sore. Oh, you struck QC Kinetics. All this stuff. Getting older is... There are people that are that do it gracefully, and then there are people that don't. And then there are kind of people in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm trying to do it gracefully, but I'm also like, I need to. The thing that I have that you don't have, Ben, you didn't go out of your way to damage every part of your body in your 20s and 30s, like I did. So I'm always waiting for the, hey, man, we need to talk about your
comeuppance?
Yeah, we need to talk about because I'll be honest.
The consequences
of your actions.
Of your actions.
And so I feel like I'm playing catch up all the time. And like, it's why you really never see me drink, don't do drugs. Like I'm just trying to, I don't even smoke weed. You know what I mean? Like maybe once a year, maybe. And it's legal. Like if you had told 18-year-old me, you could walk in a store and get weed one day. You're going to live in California. You can walk in and just get whatever weed you want. I would have been like, are you kidding me?
And then you're going to tell them, but you're not going to really partake because, well, you're too old to do it.
Yeah. Well, and so now, I'm trying to play catch up and be a little healthier. So we had brought up the golf trip and your routine, and I said, give me your routine. I want to know what you guys take on a nightly basis, because I said, when you hear mine, you're gonna die. You won't even believe it. I actually, and in case nobody believes me, the way that I did my regimen was I got everything out and I took pictures of each one individually. If you want to see them, I can show you guys.
So I've gotten to the point where I have one of those long boxes with M, T, W, T, F, S, and S.
All the way
7 days
through,
a week.
I do too.
You fill them up each week so you don't forget to take any of your pills. Because if you had to look at each bottle every time, that would just be like take most of your evening trying to get ready for bed. So yeah, I put all my pills in every week into each little slot and then just pop them all at once.
That is that's probably one of my favorite parts of the week, is when I get to the day that I'm out and I get to flip it open. And
You fill them all?
I love it.
You like that?
I love it. It's like a.
That's kind of a grind. Like,
I love it. It just makes me feel good. It's like the preparation. I like the preparation of getting them all together.
You want to do mine? Come on over.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun. Now I do drop some
Oh,
on the
I hate
ground.
that when you drop them and then you're
little
looking
tiny
around.
ones. I'm like, ah!
Where is that one? Where did it go?
Saw my dog nibbling on one of mine. So let's start with Paulie, because I feel like his is going to be the quickest. Paulie, what do you take on a daily basis?
Like I take a multivitamin.
Okay.
Like front Flintstones, like a chewable, or what are we talking about here?
It's Men's Health.
Men's
something.
Health.
Men's multivitamin.
Okay.
And if I'm not feeling well, I have other like vitamin C
Sure.
specifically.
Right, but daily.
on a daily,
like, that's it.
that's about it.
The multi. When do you take it?
Usually in the morning.
Okay.
When I am not in a rush, or if I remember, it's right there by my bed. I have a thing of Pepsid AC tablets.
Sure.
Usually need one of those at night.
Okay.
To help with the chest pain, not chest pain, but
Heartburn.
like the heartburn
Sure.
type. And yeah, that's about it.
All right.
33 years old, not bad.
34.
4, that's right, just had his birthday.
That'll change at some point.
sure it will.
That will change at some point. Benjamin.
All right, I take simvastatin for my cholesterol.
Okay.
Keep it
Simvastatin.
keep it in range,
In
which it has
check.
done a nice job of doing so. I take amlodipine Beselit for my blood pressure, a little low dose blood pressure. I may be able to get off of it on my next checkup is coming up soon,
Yeah.
and they said let's see how you're
Do
doing
it
because you
for-
lost the weight, you're healthier.
Do it for 6 months.
But
we'll see.
yeah, we're
Yep.
testing, kind of seeing where I was only kind of in the borderline level,
Yeah.
but they were like, it's not coming down, so let's try that for a little while. I take a loratadine tablet every
Okay.
single night for my allergies.
Every
That's a generic for like Claritin.
Okay.
I take that. I take a vitamin D, tiny little jelly vitamin D supplement.
Okay.
I have no idea why.
You need vitamin D.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
They said you're low. When I did my last blood work,
Same thing.
like a year and a half ago, they said you're low on vitamin D. I said, but I get out in the sun and I golf, and that's usually
Still
where
not
vitamin
enough.
D is not enough. So I take vitamin D, and I take a low dose or baby aspirin for heart health, and I've done that for several years, and that's my nightly pill regimen.
I could be wrong here, but I thought you were only supposed to take a baby aspirin I thought it did damage. I thought you were only supposed to take a baby aspirin if, like, you started to feel like I'm having a heart attack. I didn't know that you did it for.
I don't know. My doctor
Preventative.
said just to take it every day.
Is a baby aspirin for babies, or
Yeah.
just a really small?
It's low dose.
Both,
pill?
actually.
Both. Yeah, both.
Just a baby
It's
aspirin
very
pill.
small, very tiny.
All right.
81 milligrams, very small.
You guys ready?
No.
All right, this goes down every day.
Okay.
Every day and night. My cup runneth over. My pills runneth over. So mine's very deep and thick. I take fish oil for my heart.
Okay.
Cayenne pepper to
Cayenne pepper.
It's cool cayenne pepper.
Like
it's
a pill in a pill
in a
version.
pill. Yeah.
Not just like adding it to your food.
A shaker in my mouth. Oh,
the
somebody's
spice
gonna
cabinet.
get me doing that on video. That didn't look good. Also, it's good for your wiener. Just so you know.
Cayenne pepper.
Yeah. Just so you know.
In what regard?
I've never even heard
blood,
this.
blood flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shilajit. It is one.
Repeat that again.
Shilajit.
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 Is it French?
I don't know. It's one of the most nutrient-dense substances on Earth. Can help with slowing the effects of aging. I take vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K combo pill. It's called ADK5. My doctor recommended that.
I'd call it DAC just because, DAK.
Or CAD, either one. Yeah. Rosuvastatin to lower cholesterol.
Fine, yeah.
Ezetimibe, cholesterol inhibitor. I can't pronounce it.
You got two. So, okay. Ezetimibe.
Olmesartan for hypertension. Those are from the doctor.
Hang on. I don't have the right music. Proceed.
I take a men's multivitamin.
In addition to your AKD. Probably repeating some of those.
Maybe.
All right.
Fine. Can't have too much.
Yeah, you can.
L-arginine, it's amino acid. Probably mispronounced that too. Helps your body produce protein. Also good wiener benefits. Glucosamine. Supports healthy.
Isn't that good for your dog's joints?
Yeah, and your joints.
And your
cartilage.
joints, okay.
Yeah, love glucosamine. L-carnitine. Helps turn fat into energy. You'd think I'd be more energetic. Magnesium supplement every day. Helps with blood pressure, also anxiety. Vitamin C gummies and apple cider vinegar gummies and creatine gummies.
What does the apple cider vinegar gummy do?
Supports immune system.
Immune system.
Yeah. That's might be a bit, the apple cider. It might be, but they taste pretty good, so I eat them. And creatine gummies every morning before I start my day. Every day.
Wow.
It's a lot.
So now that I'm thinking about it, I could probably add a couple of things. They're not like pills, though. Like, would MCT oil be part of your regimen?
I take that every morning, too, in my coffee.
Every morning has to go in my coffee or a smoothie, whatever.
Yes, Fritz.
Has to have it.
I take a low-dose Adderall for my very, very severe ADHD. So...
I feel like you're spending like $400 a day.
It's not cheap.
Pills.
Well, the worst thing is when you're doing it and you're laying it all out and you're like, oh God, I've only got 3 of these left, 9 of these left, and then you have to place that order. You're like, oh God.
I also have a couple of hits of from Penn Higgins every couple times a night.
Yeah, well, that's part of your regimen.
Squirrely24 in the chat wants to know, what do you take for your lumbago cramps?
What is lumbago?
I don't even know, but it sounds funny.
If there's any other supplements that you guys recommend, let me know, because I just feel like I did overkill.
If you're a supplement dealer out there,
I'm your guy.
This is your client here.
I did overkill on all of the things I shouldn't have done: booze, alcohol, booze, drugs, everything else, cigarettes for years. For years, I overkill.
Lumbago or lumbago, it's an outdated term for lower back pain.
Don't have any. Feel great.
I do have it then. No. I have. You say lumbago, I say lumbago.
And so I did overkill on all that for years. And so now I just go overkill on trying to do it on healthy things. My pee is very yellow. It's very, very yellow.
I think you just need to drink more water then. I know you drink more water than anyone I've seen.
I drink more water than anyone on the planet. I drink 2 to 3 of these. That's like a gallon, essentially. 3 gallons every day. So I'm... Yeah. So anyway, if you have any supplements that I'm missing, let me know. I'd be happy to add to the...
People are worried we're violating HIPAA, like doctor-patient privacy. It's not our doctors who are revealing this. We are more than allowed to reveal our own pill regimens.
Dr. Dominguez on there. Listen to this guy. His blood pressure is this. That would be a problem. Shout out Dr. Dominguez, by the way. He's huge tier 1, huge Padres fan. Love him. And every time I go into his office, he's like... All right, well, how's the diet been? It's been okay, up and down. Working out, actually getting a little better with workouts. All right, well, let's check your blood pressure's through the roof, dude. All right, we're going to get you on a low dose of this. I'm like, son of a bitch. So, all right, I'm getting some good recommendations in here. I will get these going. Obviously, I started the show saying, nothing else to talk about. I'm not an idiot, all right? I'm not a hater. I am a hater, but I'm not an idiot. He is unreal. He's unreal.
There's only one thing that I dislike about Shohei Ohtani. Plays for the Dodgers. And did so very affordably.
Yes.
But otherwise, I don't have any personal grudge against him.
I didn't like the...
would it be better if they signed him to a real contract? Like, let's say, $500 million real dollars instead of $700 deferred fake dollars?
Would it...
Where it's like... This has the potential to be franchise crippling if it doesn't work out.
Well, his deal does have the potential to be franchise crippling. I think in the deferral years when they have to pay him $68 a year, but he's made so much money. And I talked to people in the game that said, obviously the money he brings in you would see Bob Nightingale tweeting out for once a week. Well, they've just signed the Japanese pickle company. They've just signed the Japanese candy bar company. They just signed 2 Japanese automakers. They're taking all the money that they're making. They're putting it into account. They're earning interest off of that account. And then they'll be like, here you go, bud, and stroke him a check. I mean,
no one
he's
ever
going to pay
accused
for
the
himself.
Dodgers of not being smart.
No, they're smart.
They're a smart team.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. They may not have the pitching to get it done this year, despite all their smartness.
Right.
But, yeah, they do some things correctly.
Well, and you have to have a player that's willing to do that as well. Now, again, I think based on what happened at the beginning of the year with Shohei, yeah, man, I think some of that rubbed me the wrong way. I think it did. But as far as a baseball player, he's superhuman. He's a superhuman baseball player. I've never seen anything like it.
He's going to get back to pitching next year,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, he's going to get back to pitching.
130 plus years of baseball. I
Yeah.
mean, it's never been done. We've never seen anything even close to this.
He had a day yesterday. Certainly we're going to talk about it. So relax, Dodger fans. Also, go listen to your own radio shows.
I actually think that having that day is probably not a good thing for the Dodgers. And I will explain to you why that's the case. We'll get to that coming up. We'll set our menu for a Friday program. It is a Friar Friday, of course, and you know what that means. But we'll tell you all about it coming up in our next segment. Do not go away. Kelly's got traffic. It's been really bad this week, the traffic in San Diego. I heard Mark Latulip, our officer on Channel 10, talking about it last night. Hopefully it's a little better today. Find out early from Kelly, and then back with the Friday edition of Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
I was a little bummed didn't get to go last night. I was on the air at 6:00, and I think the event was like 5:30 to 7 or so. But I wanted to congratulate our guest from earlier this week, Michael King, and his wife Sheila, who successfully launched the King of the Hill Foundation yesterday in an event at Singing Hills Golf Course. And we did get a 10 News camera down there, so I got to see some of the video. I saw Joe Musgrove was there. Mark Grant was definitely in attendance. I saw Eric Rupner was there, and they had some auction items, Padres jerseys. Looked like a Dylan Cease artwork was up for auction, as well as they raised some of the first funds for the King of the Hill Foundation, which, if you listen to the interview we did from the dugout earlier this week with Michael King, is about battling type 1 diabetes and other autoimmune diseases. Sheila Hill King was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, like my son has it, and they're looking for ways to at least identify it in potential people who are at risk, who have a genetic predisposition, and then maybe delay the onset because it can hit at any time. It can hit when you're, 3 years old. It can hit when you're 13, like my son. It can hit in your early 20s, like Sheila King, or you could delay it. It could be longer. And the more you live without it, the better. You want your pancreas working as long as possible before you have to start taking insulin shots all the time. So they're going to be contributing to research and funding to fight the disease, which is a great cause. And it's great to see Michael King so quickly getting involved in the community. It's very easy when you're new to a city, you get traded, like give me a year or two just to get my feet wet and understand where I am. But he's like, no, let's jump right in. This is a great community for medical research, especially with Dexcom is here based in San Diego. And they're like, this is important to us. Let's get this started. And they picked a day. It's an off day, and they just did it yesterday. So good for them.
So you weren't able to go down?
I didn't. We did send a photographer, though. So.
Then surely you made a large donation.
I have not made a donation yet. I was not at the event. It was an auction at the event.
They have a thing online.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They do. It's King of the Hill
I don't
Foundation.
have the internet, so.
You don't have the internet? It's the King of the Hill Foundation.org. You just go there, and then you just click on donate. They have there's like a button, and you can do a monthly, one time. You can do one time.
I'd
monthly,
like to donate maybe my time, like emceeing an event for them or something.
I got it.
That's more valuable than money, right?
I think, what's the purpose of the foundation? To raise money?
Yeah. Get the message out.
Well, we just did that.
Yeah.
So we're good there.
Yeah.
That part has been done. We did it. Feel good about it. We got it out there.
Anything to not spend a buck. This man.
You can do a quarterly donation or
A quarter. I would definitely donate a quarter.
1 quarter. That's not an option.
Is that not what a quarterly donation means?
The lowest amount that you can give, or you can do other amounts. So I guess you could do a quarter, but I will stab you if you just give a quarter.
I'd like to do a quarterly donation. How much?
A quarter.
I just told you. A quarterly
1 quarter.
donation.
How about I make a donation in our Ben and Woods name?
No,
and we'll get.
I will make the donation. I will find the website. I will do the donation.
I'll just tell you, it's kingofthehillfoundation.org.
You've already given $17,000 to the Peter Seidler Legacy Fund this year by winning all your baseball games. I will make it generous. I will handle the Michael King of the Hill Foundation donation on our behalf.
Oh, okay, good.
Ben Woods and Paul.
Great, thank you. Orthodox says Ben supports with good thoughts and vibes. Hey, I'm not actually going to give you any money, but I will send you my good vibes. Good vibes.
I do think, and you can make fun of me for this. I do think that I don't have the funds to make a huge difference. I know every little bit counts, but I feel like I can make a difference in terms of getting the message out and helping in that way, like talking about it right here. So
you do both.
I think that's the more important thing that I can do.
You're unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. He's selling us. He's selling us as to why he can't donate. Lie to us. That's what we just want you to go, oh, yeah, no, I was planning on it. I didn't do it. It's very easy. Just, you don't have to be
honest.
George Washington over here.
Too honest. I cannot lie. I did chop down the cherry tree.
This is why you can never be a politician. He just can't even tell a lie.
That is going to be a problem, isn't it? When we run for mayor and you're my deputy mayor.
Oh, my Lord.
You're going to be in charge of most of the
lying. Guys, we never got that email. I don't know what to tell you. I looked at my spam. Mayor Higgins did not see it. So I don't know what to tell you. Resend it, maybe? But yeah, sorry about that. Any other questions? No, Michael King is awesome, dude, and just a great guy. And, I did think, and this is, your baseball coverage mind is wired this way. You're like, we've got him for a year after this. But, hey, man, set up your foundation here. We're going to get something done. We'll get something hammered out. We want you here for a long time. Yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think. And by the way, who doesn't want Michael King here for a few more years?
It's a good sign that he had the full backing of the Padres organization.
100%.
You had the CEO there. You had, full help from the Padres organization. Now, that's probably some goodwill that the Padres want to do for a player that they are hoping to re-sign
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
All,
but
it's all circular, my
It is.
friend. Yeah, 100%.
all right, here's what we've got on the menu for today's show. No Padres wrap-up, as it was an off day yesterday, but we will look ahead to the series against the Chicago White Sox, and, of course, we will discuss what happened yesterday. Padres getting zero help whatsoever.
Zero, not
which
one
you
bit.
can't count on any
Nope.
help at this point.
You beg for it, but you can't count on it.
The one you were hoping for is could the Marlins beat the Dodgers? And they certainly couldn't. They didn't come close. In fact, they allowed an historic day from one Shohei Ohtani, and we will talk about that historic baseball day that happened in Miami. And friend of the program, Skip Schumacher's kind of news making, some lip reading that went on during the game, and then some comments that Skip made after the game about not intentionally walking Shohei Ohtani, despite the fact that you kind of knew what was coming the way he was swinging the bat. So we will talk about that coming up in our next segment. Take on Woods at 7:10. Maybe we'll get in a little bit of the Thursday night football game last night. Don't do this. 7:20. 7:35. I would like to play, if we can, a couple of the clips. Steven Strasburg was in studio yesterday. Hasn't done much media, obviously, after his retirement, and came back to talk to his former Aztec teammate and friend Tony Gwynn Jr. in studio yesterday, and we've got some of those cuts, and we can talk a little bit about Steven Strasburg in our 7:35 segment. And then guests in the second half of the program, Jake Mintz. Is it Jake again? The newly wedded Jake is going to be back with us?
Jordan was last week.
Oh, that's right, because I was off last week. So the newly wedded Jake will be with us from Cespedes Family Barbecue at 8. Reindl Report at 8:35, and then the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt, the penultimate regular season Manager's Report, coming up at 9 o'clock, and we'll talk to the skipper as he gets ready to host the White Sox this weekend. So that's all coming up on the program. Next, though, we'll get into a little Ohtani talk and Skip Schumacher and everything that went down in Miami with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's Joe Musgrove night at Petco Park, last Friday home game of the season, and it's a terrific pitching matchup in store as he goes up against Garrett Crochet. Now, you think 6-12 is not a great record, but of course he hasn't gotten any offensive support. 3.78 ERA. He has been one of the top pitchers in the American League this season for the Chicago White Sox. So we'll see Joe and Garrett Crochet tonight at Petco Park at 6:40. Sammy Levitt with your Eco Water SoCal pregame show at 5:40.
Yeah, one of the guys the White Sox decided to hang on to at the deadline. And remember, I mean, it was Garrett Crochet was like, you can trade me, but I want an extension, and I will not pitch out of the bullpen. And then I think teams were like,
I wonder if they'll trade him in the offseason, though.
Maybe.
Because from everything that I've read, there really isn't much hope of turning it around anytime soon for the Chicago White Sox.
Not only is there not much hope, their GM, Chris Getz, went on the broadcast and goes, yeah, we're not going to be super active in free agency. And we've got guys here. It's like, what are you talking about?
He said something to the effect, well, they're going to lower payroll.
Yes, they're going to lower payroll.
And from a team that he said something to the effect of, if you had told me in spring training that we were going to lose 100 games, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Right.
Now, 120, now that shocks me a little bit. But you have a GM who fully admits he put together a triple-digit loss team that is traded away most of the talent that they had and is going to reduce payroll in the offseason. Like, what are they even doing in the league at this point?
And again, there was a huge article yesterday that dropped and was talking about the analytics that they use in Chicago. And I'm not kidding you when they say the analytics, the guys from the minor leagues, I think they spoke anonymously, and they said they had different sets of data. They said it was comical. No one knew what they were doing. And a minor league pitcher said, you know what the advice he got from, his development coaches trying to develop him to the big leagues? Work on your command more. That's what they said to him. That was his...
Yikes. That
was his, like, all right, I'm going to send you off with some info here. Go work on your command.
I'm picturing Ruben Niebla walking for a meeting at the mound saying, hey, you need to command the ball better.
Oh, no kidding.
Good luck.
It's like little league parents sitting in the stands. Throw strikes! Throw strikes! Really?
It's not helping.
Dad, I'm 7.
Keep your eye on the ball.
Keep your eye on the ball.
At least that's an actual bit of advice.
Yes.
That like a kid could think about. Okay, I'm going to keep my eye on the ball.
It's also advice that a kid could come up with. Like, oh, really? Keep my eye on the ball.
But throw strikes is not a tip at all.
It's like saying, get a hit. Get a hit. Come on, Paul. Get a hit. Get a hit. It's like, I'm trying.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
It just, again, go work on your command was the extent of
Yeah.
the information
Telling someone to throw strikes implies, oh, maybe they're just nibbling too much. And they keep,
Dad, I'm 7. I'm not locating my cutter at all. My cutter is not cutting.
Stop trying to get him to chase off the outside corner. You need to throw strikes. No, how do I throw strikes? Tell me, how do I actually get the ball over the plate? I'm 7.
I'm dreading it. I'm dreading how many parents I'm going to have to choke out in the stands in the next couple of years. I'm like, hey, stop.
Well, Joe's coming off a really good start. In fact, he's been good for pretty much every inning since he's come back, save one, which is really weird and still has no explanation. But if he pitches well again today, I'm going to completely flush that one inning from my mind and go, there was something weird that was going on there.
Tipping maybe something
like that. But we'll see what happens tonight. Again, Joe Musgrove, Garrett Crochet, 6:40 first pitch here on 97.3 The Fan. Let's get into what happened last night in Miami, though, with Shohei Ohtani. And why I'm hoping this actually is not a good thing for the Dodgers. We'll do that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Mini Donut Company. Yeah, that sounds so good right now. We've got a big problem out of Santee, westbound 52 past Mast Boulevard. This accident involving a couple vehicles, which resulted in a vehicle fire. Got the left lane blocked, so just give yourself extra time if that's your route, West 52 past Mast Boulevard. We've also got a stalled vehicle on the Fairmont Avenue on-ramp to westbound 8, kind of on a blind curve there, so take it extra carefully. And in the North County, Cordell traffic cam shows this collision northbound 15, just past Belicita. Car and motorcycle involved over the right shoulder. Sometimes an entire donut just seems a little too much. I don't think so myself, but apparently a lot of people do. Enter the Mini Donut Company with dozens of rotating, traditional, and seasonal flavors. The Mini Donut Company is perfect for office catering, parties, weddings, Kelly's Belly, or fun treat for the whole family. Visit getminidonuts.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Kelly expounding on mini donuts this morning, getting us all a little bit hungry. So
I've never looked at a donut and said,
wish it was smaller.
I wish it was smaller. Never.
But small donuts are fantastic.
Yeah, but you eat way more.
But then you just eat 7 of them instead of 2.
Oh, I want a donut.
So, contrary to popular opinion, I'm not a Dodger lover. I may not be quite as intense of a Dodger hater as you are, Woods, but I am far from a Dodger lover. I don't think even you, though, going to really have any shade for Shohei Ohtani today.
I have a little.
You can have shade for Major League Baseball. You just showed me something incredible.
I cannot believe this, man. I really cannot believe this. Somebody went to Instagram, as our buddy Connor went to Instagram last night and clued me in on it. He goes, go look at MLB's Instagram. And so I did, and I went, holy cow. So Ben and I just looked again and checked the number of posts about Ohtani. And I said, well, certainly some of these have to be weeks old. I mean, obviously he's probably the biggest player
they
in the
do
world.
post about him a lot on their social channels.
Which as you
which
should.
I understand.
As you should.
Taking advantage of their international audience.
You guys, I am not kidding you when I tell you 22 posts about Shohei Ohtani in 19 hours. 22 posts. You can get arrested for that. If you have a female that you're interested in and you do 22 tweets about her or 22 Instagram posts, you need to be arrested.
They're stalking you.
That's stalking. This is a stalking violation. So yeah, they went hard on Shohei Ohtani last
He's
night.
scrolling it through them.
It's insane. I mean, it is absolutely insane.
LeBron James cannot believe Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
just ridiculous.
So it was obviously a really
Holy crap! It keeps going.
It keeps going, and then they throw it. A Guardians went in there because they clinched. Yeah. Like, hey, congratulations.
Guardians, all they did was clinch on a walk-off bottom of the 10th inning win. It's like, boring. You're not Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. There's Jazz Chisholm mixed in there.
There's one Luis Angel Acuna.
Yep. Luis Angel Acuna, but yeah, dude.
Everything
I mean,
else.
it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Even if you're a Dodger fan, you have to admit, all right, that's a little bit overkill.
So
you won't, but you should.
So he went into the game, 49 stolen bases and 48 home runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, outside chance of getting there. Quickly took care of the stolen base element of it, I think in the 3rd inning. Got his 50th, then 51st. But didn't look like the home run thing was going to happen. As in his first 3 at-bats, he got hits, but no home runs. So he's 3 for 3, no home runs. But then in the 6th inning, hits an absolute tank off the bullpen pitcher for the Marlins. So he gets to 49, and it looks like, okay, he's probably going to get at least one more at-bat in the game. Comes up in the 7th inning, and the cameras catch our friend Skip Schumacher, manager of the Marlins. And they're getting bodied at this point. And clearly someone in the dugout had said to him, hey, should we just walk him here?
Yeah, we put him on here.
Let's not be on the wrong end of history. He's murdering us. Let's do the smart thing and let's walk him. And Skip's response, if you can read lips, was essentially,
Wasn't that hard.
yeah.
He said F that.
F that. You know, I respect that guy too much.
Yeah, I got too much respect for that guy.
To walk him here. We're going to pitch to him. And they did. And, you know, he had another home run and became the first and only member of the 50-50 home run stolen base club in baseball. And as much as you would love to see the Marlins, you know, try to win that game and rally back, I mean, the Padres want more than any other team in baseball right now. The Padres want the Dodgers to lose, and they want their opponents, even the Marlins and the Rockies, to do whatever they can to beat the Dodgers. And perhaps competitively, the best strategy would be to walk Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
They weren't coming back in that game.
No.
And I think Skip was absolutely right about that. Do we have Skip's comments after the game, Paulie? What he had to say. So he was asked about it, pitching to Shohei Ohtani, and here's what Skip Schumacher said.
I think that's a bad move, baseball-wise, karma-wise, baseball god-wise. You go after him and see if you can get him out. And I think out of respect for the game, we're going to go after him. He hit the home run. I mean, you know, that's just part of the deal. He's hit 50 of them. He's the most talented player I've ever seen. He is doing things that I've never seen done before in the game. And if he has a couple more of these peak years, he might be the best ever to play the game. So I just, as a fan, I wish I was in the stands, not in the dugout, seeing it. But it's I'm proud of like the guys that were attacking him and not scared of him. And that's how you should go after it. And then he hit the home run. I mean, I know Baumann didn't want the home run to be hit, but he hit it. And so it was a good day for baseball, a bad day for the Marlins, but a good day for the game of baseball.
Yeah.
Now, had it been a one-run game, up one, down one,
dude,
totally
yes,
different
totally
situation.
different. Any problem with Shohei hitting again? 5 for 5, 2 home runs, position player in. That's the only thing that I thought, all right, stat patter. Like, come on.
I mean, I wouldn't have wanted that to be the 50th against a position player, but once he's already gotten it.
But I guess if you're 5 for 5, you're like, Skip, you got to let me
see if I can go for 6 for 6.
Even though it's a position player. So,
and it's hard. It's actually kind of hard to hit those home runs off the position players.
100%.
It's impressive. That home run was actually impressive in my mind.
But, listen.
If I'm the position player, I might throw a 40-mile-an-hour pitch right at him.
Yeah.
Just like,
Just as a joke.
I don't want to give up one.
I'm not giving up one. Nah, whatever. It's over. It's fine. Great day.
So why do I say this could actually be a bad thing for the Dodgers? Having a red-hot Shohei Ohtani is clearly a good thing. They scored 20 runs. You know what Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman did in that game?
What?
Nothing. No runs scored, no RBI. I think one single, 1 for 7. With no runs scored and no RBI, and they still scored 20.
Yeah, you don't
on the back of Shohei Ohtani.
You don't throw that man anything near the zone ever when you get to the playoffs, and you take your chance. Where's he hitting in the lineup now? 2?
First.
Oh, he's still hitting first.
He's leading
I thought
off still.
Mookie was
No,
okay.
Mookie was thinking he was going back to lead off, and they said, no, we're leaving Shohei there.
I got no problem. And now, the thing about Shohei, and he's exhibited it this year, if you put him on, he's probably going to swipe a bag off of you. So that's something immediately. I'm going to pitch around him, try to get him to chase, but if I do put him on, it's a double. That's tough. In the first inning, going up against the Dodgers, it's a real big advantage for them, which, again, is why... Look, I see them all the time. They're lamenting their pitching injuries, et cetera, et cetera. I understand that. I'm sorry, man. You have the best player on the planet. No one's going to feel sorry for you. And then hitting behind him, another one of the best players on the planet. Then hitting behind him, another one of the best players on the planet. No one's crying for you guys. Seriously. And you can't. Like, I legit had a guy last night going, well, we may be favored in every series, but we are the underdog. And that's the stuff that makes me want to die. No one with Shohei Ohtani can be considered an underdog. You're just not. He's the best player in the world, can change the game in so many different ways. And yeah, I mean, everyone is hurt. Everyone has been ravaged by injuries this year. The Padres certainly have. So nobody's going to feel sorry for you about your pitching.
So this may be a little wishful thinking on my part as a Padres fan, but I am taking my experience as a Padres fan and knowing that when there's so much made about individual accomplishments during a season, it's not necessarily great for the team.
No, it's not.
And when I tweeted yesterday, please let this be the pinnacle of the Dodgers season, I can absolutely see a timeline in which when the Dodgers look back at 2024, they go, yeah, the highlight of our year was that. Remember that day Shohei went 6 for 6 and joined the 50-50 club? Yeah, it didn't work out after that. We just didn't have the pitching horses in the playoffs. But, wow, that was such a great day. Because you know why I know that? Because we've done that here in San Diego.
Oh, I said it this
How about
week.
Blake Snell winning the Cy Young?
Blake Snell winning the Cy Young in a turd season.
You know, Joe Musgrove throwing a no-hitter in 2021. It didn't turn out that well. But what a great moment that was. What a great individual accomplishment.
Yeah.
And while the Padres have had Dylan Cease threw a no-hitter, Manny Machado became the all-time home run leader, it has felt very backseat to what the team has done this year for the San Diego Padres. Don't you agree?
100%.
With the Dodgers, though, it's been all about Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, yeah.
Even
No
Mookie
question.
Betts and Freddie Freeman have very much taken a backseat to his individual accomplishments. And while it doesn't really mean anything, they can kick it into high gear and still do and advance in the playoffs.
Sure.
It's not the place that I necessarily want to be going to the postseason. I like where the Padres are going into this postseason. Finally, for once, as a team that is playing together, that is pulling for each other, that everyone's doing something, and it's not about one player's individual achievements or accomplishments this year.
Yeah, and again, though.
And that's not on Shohei.
It's not.
That's on the hype machine a little bit,
Sure.
but that hype machine is real, and it's a distraction.
Yeah, and also, it's just evidence. You don't give him anything in the zone. You just can't. You cannot. I'll take my chances, man. I really will, because you can't let him beat you, because he's clearly a freak of nature.
All right, you can't avoid Woods and take on Woods. Our chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Don't let him beat you. Coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan. Good question from Eric in our YouTube chat during the break. He said, what are the chances of Fernando Tatis Jr. ever joining the 50-50 club?
He's one of those guys that has it in him, I think, if
So
he's
yeah,
healthy.
he's hit 42
Yep.
in 130 games in 2021. His career high in stolen bases is 29, but he certainly has the speed to do it.
Let's go 30-30 first.
I
and then
think
we'll build
I
up
think
from
he
there.
absolutely could. I don't know that I want to see him go after it for the same reason that what Shohei Ohtani has done. You're putting a lot of strain on yourself when you're stealing all those bags. I think part of the reason Shohei felt like, let's go for it this year.
Yeah.
He's not putting any strain by playing the field even 1 second of the season. So he got plenty in reserve. He's just sitting on the bench for, a good most of the game. And he gets out there, all right, let's do something while I'm out here at least.
Yeah, if the Padres draft, if a right field prospect popped up and was like, dude, this kid is unbelievable. We got to find a way to get him in the lineup. Toddy, you're going to be full-time DH next year, and you're just going to focus on hitting and running bags, which they never would do because he's got a rocket for an arm. He's a platinum glove winner. But in that kind of dumb scenario, yeah, I think when you don't play the field every day, and this is not a knock on Shohei. He is a pitcher that is rehabbing, which is the fact that he's done this. Like, hey, I had surgery on my elbow. I'll just go hit 50-150 right now, and no big deal. But I do think Fernando, if he was just a full-time DH, it'd be crazy.
But I'd rather have him be around a 30-30 guy playing platinum glove defense.
Yeah, no question.
In right field than try to be a 50-50 guy. And I don't want to see him try to steal 50 bases and be playing 155 games out in the field doing the kind of sprinting and, leaping and diving that he does as a fielder out there. It's just not a fair comparison.
It's not. And I think that would be, we've talked about it a lot, but some of the guys that have played a lot of games this year, you get pretty worn out playing both ways. And for Shohei, not that it's not difficult what he's done. He's a freak. I've said it many times. So, but yeah, not having the strain of going out to play right field or even first base and anything like that, like it's helped him stay healthy.
So before we get to Take on Woods, if you want to get online early, you can call 833-288-0973. We're a few minutes away. Update on the playoff chase from yesterday. So with the Dodgers' 20-4 win over the Marlins, Padres fall 4 games behind the Dodgers with 9 to play. Now, they do have the tiebreaker, and they have 3 head-to-head matchups. So essentially, for the Padres to win the NL West, they will need to sweep the Dodgers and finish 1 game better than them in the other 6.
Okay.
With the Padres playing the White Sox and Diamondbacks, and I believe all 6 for the Dodgers are against the Rockies. 3 in L.A., 3 at Coors Field. So, if you
nice
sweep...
to see them get a break.
If you sweep the Dodgers, you play the same schedule, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah, I've seen crazier things happen.
If you sweep the Dodgers, which is possible, you'd have to go 5-1 against the Diamondbacks and White Sox and hope that the Dodgers go 4-2 against the Rockies, or go 6-0 and hope the Dodgers just go 5-1. Now that's possible. If the Padres won out 9-0, then the Dodgers would only have to lose once to the Rockies, and the Padres would win the division.
Yeah,
but that's not much margin for error. You lose once to the Dodgers, essentially you're going to need the Rockies to pull off 2 series wins or a sweep of the Dodgers. Probably not going to happen. So your best path is to either win them all or win all but one and get minimal help from the Rockies the rest of the way. Not impossible, but certainly not likely either. So 4 games back, 9 to play. In the wild card race, everybody won yesterday. The Arizona Diamondbacks got 12 strikeouts from Brandon Pfaadt as they beat a slightly hungover-looking Milwaukee Brewers team 5-1.
So, did you watch?
I watched a little bit of it, yeah. But I didn't see the interview, though.
So they go down to Rhys Hoskins, who was given the day off yesterday. And he is sitting on the sideline, and his face could only be he could only be characterized as looking, very worn out. And usually in one of those in-game interviews, hey, I got the day off, and let's chop it up, let's have some fun. He was like, yeah, yep. No, it's been good. Been happy. And then A.J. Pierzynski with just the best question ever. Does it ever get old popping bottles? No, it never gets old.
All those bottles I popped.
Always fun to pop bottles and win divisions. He looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. He had the bubble guts going, the whole thing, eating antacid, drinking electrolytes. I mean, he looked super hungover. His eyes looked all tired, and but no, I mean, it was we got no help whatsoever at all.
So
yesterday.
the Arizona win pulls them within 2 of the Padres for the number 1 wild card slot. The tiebreaker remains up in the air. Whoever wins that last series will win the tiebreaker. So whatever the Padres hopefully lead is going into that series will be very important. If they're, let's say, up 2 games, then Arizona would have to sweep because you can't tie a series by just winning a series. Now, if they're only up 1 game going into that last series, then 2 out of 3 would be all Arizona would need to both tie the Padres and take the tiebreakers. So trying to stay 2 ahead of Arizona versus 1 ahead, very important over these next 6 games, because if you lose 1 game, then Arizona goes into that last series going, hey, all we need is 2 out of 3, and we can pass the Padres. The Mets already own the tiebreaker over the Padres. They are also 2 games back after they beat the Phillies 10-6, 4 home runs. Taijuan Walker, not good for the Phillies.
He's laying it in there, man.
And the Mets are 3 straight games with double digits. First time in franchise history, so they've been hitting even without Francisco Lindor, so no help there. And the Braves got a 15-3 over the Reds. I told you there was no chance the Braves would lose with Chris Sale on the mound, and they didn't. Michael Harris, 2 home runs, 4 RBI. They remain 2 games behind Arizona and the Mets and 4 games behind the Padres. And, of course, the Padres have that tiebreaker. So while the magic number remains 5, that's still a good place to be. And that any 5 wins combined with Braves losses clinches at least a playoff spot for the Padres. But they did not get any help whatsoever yesterday from the rest of the National League.
Well, I mean, the only help that the Padres get is that the Chicago White Sox are coming into town, and that's a team that you should beat. That's a team that you should handle. And listen, I'm not saying that they will, but, we talked about on the roundtable yesterday, I think Craig said you have to sweep this team, and I just...
Tony said, hey, just win a series. Take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and I said the same thing. Like, going into this series saying anything less than a sweep is unacceptable, you're setting yourself up for failure here, man. It's hard to sweep a team, especially, again, a prideful team that does not want to be a part of history. Nobody wants to be a part of the worst team of all time. No one. And, there's a couple of examples that it happened, and they've been playing better baseball lately in the Chicago White Sox because they don't want to be on that side of history. They will be bringing everything they have. Will it be enough? I have no idea. But, based on their record, Ben, you should handle them.
Yes. Based on their record.
Based on their record.
Of 117 losses.
You should handle them.
You should handle them. Today is kind of the pivot game of the series. That's their best pitcher.
Yep.
This is their chance to keep one close. That's kind of, one of the 3 is going to be close.
Yeah.
Because, like in every series in baseball, even every sweep, it's rare that you win 9-1, 11-3, and, 14-2. You have to win at least one close game to sweep a series generally.
Ask if you're a Dodger fan listening or you're a Dodger fan online, you expected to sweep the Marlins. You didn't. They
Correct.
didn't.
Correct.
They lost the first game.
They did.
And the fact that they won 20-4 yesterday doesn't negate the fact that they lost the first game. They all count as
because
one.
There's probably going to be a close one somewhere in a series, and you got to figure out a way to win that close one. Dodgers didn't. Hopefully the same thing happens when they play the Rockies.
So again, if you're sitting there here today as a Padres fan saying if they don't sweep, we're dead. Number one, we're not. We're still in a good position. What you can't do is you can't lose this series. You can't.
Correct.
That's one where I'll go, you know what? Yeah, that's unacceptable. That can't happen. But even if that happened, if you drop 2 out of 3, you're still okay. You're still okay. The Mets are red hot. They're just red hot right now. You wonder when they'll come back to earth, if ever. They could be this year's Diamondbacks, the way that they're playing right now. But we could be this year's Diamondbacks. So makes it certainly fun. But it's not going to be an easy. It's not going to be an easy next couple of weeks at all.
No, it's not.
It's not.
And it's not easy to take down Woods in our musical trivia challenge. That's why the prize is so good. A trip to Las Vegas. Let's do it. It is time to take on Woods. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Paulie, I will let you choose.
Let's go with, how about Guy?
Guy. All right, we know Guy. He's always a very competitive contestant. Good morning, Guy. How are you?
Morning, Ben. I'm doing great.
What's your morning look like?
Well, just trying to fake it through the day at work before I get on a plane to Vegas tonight for the weekend.
Ah, nice. All right. Well, I mean, let's see if we can set you up with another trip here. You know how to do it. You got to at least beat or tie Woods in our 5-question musical trivia challenge. If you do, put you into the drawing later this month for the grand prize. 2 nights at Wynn or Encore Las Vegas, swanky, and 2 tickets to Awakening, the thrilling spectacle at Wynn Las Vegas. It is on sale now, tickets at awakening.com. All right, you know how it works, so here are your category choices. An iffy category, 5 song titles that begin with the word if. Below the waist, 5 songs that include a lower half body part in the title. And Happy Days. Those are 5 song titles that include the word days. So, iffy category, below the waist, or Happy Days, Guy?
I'll try the iffy.
Iffy, all right. It's been sitting there for a while. Let's see how you do. Today we are looking again for 5 song titles that begin with the word if. 60 seconds to answer. You can pass. If you don't know it, you know that. We'll try yours, 5, then Woods, and we'll compare and see how you do. First question is the 2-second song. Paul, you're going to play that music. You need to identify the song title and the artist to score the point. Guy, are you ready?
I am ready.
Paulie, you good to go? All right, Paulie's
Ready.
good. All right. Let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Again, an iffy category. Song titles beginning with the word if. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Guy. Let's take on Woods.
If You Leave Me Now by Chicago.
Correct. Which 1992 song by Bare Naked Ladies features 6 number zeros in its title?
Pass.
Huey Lewis sings "Girls Don't Cry and Tell Me Nothing." Girl, don't cry and tell me nothing's wrong. And you've been thinking that I've been drinking. In which 1983 hit?
If This Is It.
Correct. Cher wears a leather thong while performing
If I
for.
Could Turn Back Time.
Correct. Which 2010 country song was the debut hit single for the band Perry?
If This Is Love. I have no
Incorrect. Let's go back to which 1992 song by Bare Naked Ladies features 6 number zeros in the title?
God, I have no idea.
And there's a 1 in front of those 6 zeros, making it If I Had $1 Million. And then the band Perry's If I Die Young. Woods doesn't get any of the country either, though, guys. So usually his ceiling is 4. You got 3. We'll see if that's good enough here today and take on Woods. All right, Woods returns from his isolation, meditation, headphones on. Guy's score is locked in.
Oh, Guy.
60 seconds back on the clock.
Guy.
Woods does this without the safety net of the category. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Guy.
Pass.
Which 1992 song by Bare Naked Ladies features 6 number zeros in its title?
If I Had $1 Million.
Correct. Huey Lewis sings "Girl, Don't Cry and Tell Me Nothing's Wrong," and "You've Been Thinking and I've Been Drinking," in which 1983 hit?
If This Is It.
Correct. Cher wears a leather thong while performing for sailors aboard the USS Missouri in a controversial music video for which 1989 hit?
Life After Love.
Incorrect.
Do you believe in life after love?
Incorrect. Which 2010 country song was the debut hit single for the band Perry? I knew. He hates the country.
Pass.
All right, go back to the 2-second song.
If You Leave Me Now by Seals and Crofts.
Incorrect. All right, which 2010 country song was the debut hit
don't
single
know.
for the band Perry?
Perry's Taint.
Incorrect. And Guy, congratulations.
bless.
You have beaten
All right.
Woods 3-2.
Give me the category.
It's an iffy category. If I had $1 million, if this is it. They all start with the word if.
If You Leave Me Now.
It's Chicago, though, not Seals and Crofts.
Idiot. And then if
I
could turn back
time. And
That's
then
the
the
other
band Perry is If I Die Young is what that one's called.
It's a weird name for a band. The band Perry. Right?
Yeah.
It's like Ruth's Chris. It doesn't make any sense. It's not Ruth Chris. It's Ruth's Chris. That doesn't make any sense.
That Chris belongs to Ruth.
The Chris is Ruth's.
It is. So, Guy, congratulations, by the way.
Way to go, Guy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's heading to Vegas anyway this weekend.
Oh, is he? All right.
Hang on the line. Paulie
That
will
was
put your
tough,
information
dude.
in.
Woo!
So, there was a steakhouse in New Orleans called Chris Steakhouse.
Chris,
It's
not
just Chris.
Chris's.
It's just Chris Steakhouse. Ruth bought it.
Okay.
And then said, all right, now it's my steakhouse. So it was Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And thus, a franchise was born.
Ruth's.
Don't say you don't learn anything on Ryan Woods.
If you want news and notes about upscale steakhouses,
I'm the
We got
person to
you.
I
come
got
to.
you 100%. Or a guy that
Have you
just,
ever been to, speaking of steakhouse chains, so have you ever been to Morton's
Of course.
the Steakhouse?
Love it.
No menu.
What do you mean no menu?
They don't give you a menu. They just come out and they bring out all and show you all the food. The steak
I don't remember
cuts,
that at
the
all.
side
I've been to
dishes.
Morton's like 12 years.
I mean, you can
but-
ask for one if you want,
Oh.
but they will not actually present you with a menu. They will show you the meat, as it were. You don't know? You don't remember that? It's been a long time since
It's
I've
been
been.
a
At least that's
long
what they used to
time.
do. I haven't been in a while.
I know that I've been to steakhouses. They bring out like the cuts of meat. This is the ribeye. This is the baseball.
That's Morton's. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Morton's.
Just give me the menu. I know what it is.
What about Smith and Walensky? Ever been to that one?
Delicious. Yes. You can get
Known
some
for their homemade
seafood
steak
there.
sauce.
Oh.
There is very good.
Yeah, I love it.
One right there on the Vegas Strip. Actually, I've been to that one for sure.
I have too. We need to get to a gentleman's steak dinner soon.
It's a wonder why we both take cholesterol and blood pressure medication.
At least I get my Shilajit in me. Okay. Guy is a very, very worthy opponent.
He is. All right,
Very good.
Don't Do This is coming up next. Let's see. We have a NFL quarterback in trouble for going over the top on a celebration, and it's not the quarterback you might expect. Get to that and more coming up after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
I think it's always funny when one of the guys who is generally known as one of the more milquetoast and good guys in the NFL gets fined for doing something considered obscene, but that happened in the NFL. As we get to don't do this here on a Friday.
Let that guy live, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him live a little bit.
Good start for the New Orleans Saints this season.
Yes.
2 really good games. And quarterback Derek Carr, who has had an up and down career, certainly has never gotten to the level of superstar, but he's always been considered. He's just one of the good guys in the league. So he scored.
He's very earnest.
He is very earnest.
Very earnest.
Scored on a 1-yard sneak in the 44-19 rout of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, and then he did the old Michael Jackson crotch grab
Yeah,
spin
like the
as his
woo!
celebration.
Yes, just kind of grabbed it.
Which is that from? Is that Billie Jean? Which one did
I
he
think
do it
all
on?
of them.
He just does it all
actually.
the time.
It's just like that's his signature move.
But apparently, so while the NFL has relaxed some of their touchdown celebration rules in the last few years, the current rulebook says a player can be flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for an act that is sexually suggestive or offensive. And while he wasn't flagged on the video, they said that is unsportsmanlike, though, and they fined him $14,069.
Come on.
Yes, they did.
That's amazing.
I think that is actually like a prescribed number, like
Yeah.
whatever percentage. It just happened to be $14,069.
He really did, man. He crashed through the line, and I was like, woo! It's just
First time
grabbed it.
that's the first time offender price for Derek Carr. He says he chose the celebration because he promised his family that he would do a Michael Jackson dance
Hey,
if he
kids,
scored a touchdown
I will
this
definitely
season.
grab my wiener.
Couldn't you just moonwalk or something?
Yeah, seriously. Oh man. Do you have two dude? I'll do
All right,
I'll do a dude.
All right,
this.
I've got another don't do this. And I mean, not necessarily anything that was completely controllable, but did you see on the 50th home run by Shohei Ohtani, the fan who had it right there,
fumbled it, man.
fumbled the
bag.
catch.
Fumbled the bag.
And I have no idea what it's going to be worth. The guy who ended up with the ball did not give it back, though, to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, he's keeping it. He's smart.
He's keeping it. He's not doing the old, oh, no, give me a signed jersey and a photograph, and I'll give you this extremely valuable baseball.
That's a big one.
But it did. The don't do this goes to the guy in a teal, like he was wearing like a teal sweatshirt or whatever it was. Marlins fan, obviously. Had it right there. It was falling right into his hands. And like, how much did you just drop there? 10,000, 20,000, 50,000? I don't know what it's going to be worth.
It's interesting because we were like, I was up McCovey Cove Dave. I was like, come on, bro, you got to give Elliot Ramos. I didn't mind that he didn't give it back. I think it was his comments about why he wouldn't give it back because Elliot Ramos has not earned it, and I'm a star, and he's not a star.
Yeah, that was the don't do
That's why
this.
this is a little bit
You
different.
don't have to give every single ball back. If you want to keep your ball, keep your ball.
Keep the ball, but that ball is going to be worth a tremendous amount
and what's
of money.
interesting about this is that in a 50-50 pursuit, it could have been a stolen base that he got it on. If he had gotten to 50 home runs first, you can't, if it had been the bag,
no fan's going to run out and grab the bag.
MLB just pulls the bag out and they've got that as the souvenir.
Yeah,
but
they
on a
own
home
that.
run, it goes into the stands. So now that's the moment he got the 50-50, and that's the ball.
So if you're Shohei,
that now has the most value.
Now, if you're Shohei, do you try to get the Dodgers to reach out and start a negotiation? I mean, listen, don't forget.
I mean, is it important to him? I mean, some players it
Some
is.
players
I mean,
it
we
would
saw
be.
Dylan Cease and his 200th
Yeah.
strikeout ball. He wanted that.
He wanted it.
But other players don't really care that much about the bits and pieces of the
I
memorabilia.
imagine the league probably wants that ball.
The
more
league
than
would want it
anybody.
for the Hall of Fame, I would think, though.
Well, don't forget. I mean, you're talking about a guy that lost $16 million this year that was stolen from him that he had no idea was missing. Does he even have the cash to cover
He
a
might be
negotiation
headed to
right
debtor's prison
Yeah.
at any moment,
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
I mean, and again, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even look at his bank account. So how would that even work?
Eric says, did the guy get the ball authenticated? I believe it was.
Well,
They've
were
been subbing out special balls, so it would be
Very
very
curious.
easy to authenticate.
Very curious indeed. Very curious indeed. Here's a do this.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
So what was it last week, Paulie? We had Josh Rivera on.
Yes.
We interviewed Josh Rivera, who is the star of American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez, which started on Tuesday night. Has anybody watched it? Did you guys watch it?
I have not seen it yet. No.
I got
You
the,
watched the
I got
advanced
the
screen.
advanced screen. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's, whatever. It's really, really good. They got their first reviews in. And again, let me tell you, we've interviewed actors, we've interviewed comedians, we've interviewed all kinds of people on this show. He might have been my favorite. He was so good on the air and such a great interview and seemingly a really good dude. They got some really, Rotten Tomatoes. The higher the number, the better the show.
Correct. Up to 100%.
Yeah. So they started at 85 Rotten Tomatoes. which-
Certified fresh.
Certified
85%.
fresh, man. I thought that was really cool, and I was really happy for him because he did such a great job at transforming
Good.
himself into a I mean, a
Psychopath.
psychopathic murderer. So really well done. If you haven't watched it, I meant to tweet it the other night. I forgot, as usual. So go watch it. It's on Hulu, FX, and it's so well done. And he just knocks it out of the park. So very happy for him, man. Really good dude.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
In case you missed it, had a very special guest in studio yesterday. I believe sitting in the chair that Woods is sitting in right now. Steven Strasburg. Some very of his first post-retirement
I
comments.
feel like my velo just went through the roof just by
I would
sitting
think,
in
just
the chair.
sitting right
From
there.
61 to 64.
Sitting with his good friend and fellow Aztec, Tony Gwynn Jr. yesterday. Got a couple of those comments for you. We can talk about that next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. That chair feel any different to you this morning?
Man. Yeah, it feels like a World Series MVP sat in it. He was World Series MVP, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nuts.
Aztec for Life, Steven Strasburg, in studio yesterday with Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matt Scraby, and sharing just some of his thoughts. Obviously, it was a bit of a, I don't want to say controversial retirement, but it wasn't the fun end of your career, smooth retirement that some guys get.
No, there was no riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, you had the whole situation with the contract, with the Nationals going, well, I mean, if you're going to retire, we're not going to pay you. And
right.
He's like, okay, then do I have to just show up to spring training just to sit there so I get my money?
Shag flies.
Actually,
I can't pitch
Strasburg
anymore. Yeah.
Earlier when we were talking about like Tua and all that guaranteed money if he were to retire from all these concussions, and it was different, but similar to Strasburg,
Sure.
who retired earlier than he had planned, signed that huge contract, and then it's like, well, hang on, what happens here?
Right, what happens? And it's investing in a pitcher like that. But again, like I think about the Nationals and what he did for them and what he can hang his hat on is I pitched you to a World Series. I was the MVP, and again, they paid him after that.
Right. With
that
the
happened.
money, it comes down to it's kind of chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
Are you paying him for what he's accomplished or what you're hoping he will accomplish?
I think both.
And it's a little bit of both.
I always find the story of Steven Strasburg fascinating, Phil, because in high school, I started at West Hills in Santee, and as a junior, he was 1-10.
Wow.
As a junior. Not someone that's going to be on a lot of radars in terms of draft or college scholarships. But then, he had a really good senior season after transferring. He stayed at West Hills, and then he had a good senior season, 1.68 ERA, and, of course, was recruited. He wanted to go to Stanford but didn't get in. And he ended up, of course, enrolling at San Diego State and playing for Tony Gwynn of the Aztecs, Tony Gwynn Jr.'s dad. And he got in better shape. He was kind of a little overweight, but he found physical fitness essentially, and it really turned around his career, and he kept adding velocity, and to the point where he became maybe the highest profile college pitcher that we had seen up to that date.
Yep.
The no-hitters, the strikeouts. I mean, his starts truly were must-see events in college baseball. And college baseball is not usually a must-see kind of sport, but it was when he was there. Friday nights he would pitch, and it was like, okay, all attention is on San Diego right now and what Steven Strasburg is doing.
He graduated the year before I came down to go to San Diego State, but I had a buddy who was a couple years older than me, worked in the athletic department to make some money, and he was like an usher or whatever, and he goes, dude, Friday nights was the toughest ticket in San Diego at that
crazy.
time. Like, it was that was the place to be if you were a sports fan, was Friday nights at Tony Gwynn Stadium to watch Strasburg pitch.
I was working at 94.9 when he made his Major League debut and
never forget it.
Cut up audio and played it on the I'm in the middle of playing Milky Chance, Stolen Dance. I'm like, I got to get this story. I mean, it was pretty nuts.
So, yeah, gets drafted number 1 overall, June of 2009 by the Washington Nationals. And, his hype was very big, when everyone was watching him ready to make his Major League debut. Very similar to what we've seen with Paul Skeens, another
Paul
number
Skeens.
1 overall pick. We know you do. With the Pittsburgh
I love
Pirates.
Paul Skeens.
A college star who, his starts were kind of created a lot of buzz in college. And then, how quickly is he going to get up to the big leagues? So kind of interesting when he talked with Tony yesterday about, Paul Skeens and any advice he would have for Skeens here in the beginning part of his career.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because I was kind of at the early stage of like the next, let's hype up every prospect, right? And
yes, you were.
Yeah, and I just looking from afar, it's like you don't, I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. I was young, and I was like, I felt really uncomfortable being in the clubhouse and being around these guys that I idolize, these veterans. I mean, I'm throwing to Pudge Rodriguez as a rookie. And it was just weird to me. It didn't really sit
well. The attention was on you, and you had these vets that had been in there for a while.
And it's just, it's easy to be, labeled the savior of the franchise. And, that's a lot of weight that you have to put on, that you could put on yourself. But I would say just like, you just have to enjoy it. Like, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and it's all about just finding those ways to get better every single day. Like, this is just a long career. His next start, it's not just that start. Like, there's many more starts down the road, and just really look at it from the perspective, like, this is going to be a long career. And I just want to know at the end of the day that I, turned over every stone and I gave it everything I possibly could.
And I covered Steven Strasburg back in college. I was, already doing the Channel 10 stuff. And he was not nearly as polished and he was finding his way back then. It's good to hear him, with the perspective of time and what he's learned. I'm sure he would love to be able to go back and give that advice to himself at the beginning of his career. But sometimes you just have to live through it.
Yeah,
and
you got to learn
experience it for yourself. But that was on Paul Skeens. He also talked a little bit about the Padres super rookie, Jackson Merrill. Not a pitcher, of course, but someone who has broken through with incredible speed here in Major League Baseball, making an impact.
Jackson
That's
Merrill.
him. And here's Steven Strasburg on 97.3 The Fan on Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to do. I think when you get the first taste of, going through to the finish line, especially when you come from, shortened minor league season or like with Skeens, like college season and stuff, that, there's going to be some, I guess, physical breakdown at some point. But when you're staying consistent with that and you've kind of proven that, you belong, that's one thing that, it doesn't come along very often. And in a way, I feel like it's, it can be, that could be a little bit harder from a position player standpoint, because, starting pitcher, like, you can go out there and be lights out, but you're pitching once every 5 days, 5-6 days. And, when you start to change the rotation around just for a long-term health perspective, like, those position players, they're grinding, they're playing through injuries, and to be able to have that, professional sense and feel to still go out there and perform. It's impressive when you see a guy that young be able to do that.
We probably don't talk about it enough. Again, that was Steven Strasburg with Tony Gwynn Jr. yesterday. Jackson Merrill has had remarkably few slumps, cold spells. He had one really early in the season. He had one other kind of mini one.
He was he was 2 for 18 when I landed in San Francisco, and then just proceeded to go off all weekend in San Francisco as well. So he's really been a really good adjuster.
The fact that he's been able to avoid what Steven Strasburg was talking about, that the first 162 game season where you have never played anything like that. Remember, a college baseball season, high school baseball season, I mean, what is it, 30 to 40 games tops?
At the most, yeah.
Minor leagues, and they're being careful with you. Yeah, he's playing maybe 100, nothing like a Major League Baseball season and the day-to-day grind and the travel and the flights and everything. It's just not the same. And almost every rookie goes through that. August, I'm just running out of gas. And sometimes you get that second win, playoffs are coming, whatever. But Jackson Merrill, for the most part, has avoided that and has remained remarkably consistent and continued to produce through the entirety of the summer. And now he's hot again. I mean, he's swinging the bat well right at the end of the season when you want to make sure he's swinging the bat well.
Yeah, and it's one of the questions I want to ask Shildt today about, moving him up. And how does that conversation go? What was the impetus behind it? Obviously, he's a good hitter. But it's got to be a little nerve-wracking to make. And that's, moving a guy up 2 slots may not seem glaring to you and I and people in the audience. But again, when you talk to Tony Gwynn Jr. and he's talking about, hey man, hitting the 7-hole in the big leagues is different than hitting in the 5-hole. It just is. It's just a different.
But Jackson will never say that.
No,
it doesn't matter to me. I'm just a ball player. My question to you is, do you believe that, or is that something he's trying to speak into existence?
I think you speak it into existence, and again, you just don't try not to change anything. I'm not going to change a thing about what I'm doing. I just may have more guys on base. I may have Manny and Tatis standing on second and third, waiting for me, Jackson Merrill, the 21-year-old rookie, to drive them in.
Slightly different role, maybe.
Don't tell me that doesn't. That's not different.
I mean, he says, hey, I'm just looking to hit the ball, just hit a line drive every time. I don't change my approach.
Yeah.
I'm never thinking about hitting a home run. Really?
Well, they all say that.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, look.
Is he speaking it, or does he actually 100% believe everything that he's saying?
I think that, that's been the Padres' approach this year. There was just an article written about this. And the quote of it was, well, if hitting home runs is really hard, why would we try to hit home runs? And I went, wow, yeah.
Victor Rodriguez.
Victor said that. So last year, you saw guys trying to go tank, right? But I think once you start scuffling as a team, you're like, I gotta go. I gotta get a big fly here.
I don't fully buy that. I mean, it's working for the Padres, but there are guys. I think most Major League Baseball players, and tell me if you agree with this. They do have a home run swing.
Sure.
And they'll break it out. Okay, I'm up in the count 3-1. I am looking for this. And I am going to swing hard because generally you need to swing hard to hit a home run. You can't just put your Luis Ariz.
Unless you're Manny.
Unless
you can get on the front foot.
There's a couple. There's Shohei. There's some outliers. But for the majority, the middle-level baseball player, the guys who hit 10 to 20, they have to be trying to hit a home run to hit a home run. And I thought Jackson Merrill was going to be that guy. But here he is with 24 home runs without ever looking like he's swinging for a home run. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't see that coming for Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, it's about 14 more than I had as his ceiling. Really, just looking at his swing and watching how
not even this year, but career-wise.
I had him.
He's going to be a 15 to 20 homer guy.
I had him this year
at his peak
at 10. If he stays healthy, he can hit 10 home runs this year. And to blow past that, because I watched his approach so early in the season, and I went, the guy just will take the outside pitch. He's not looking to pull it. He just hits it through the 5-5. He takes his line drives, takes his singles, takes his doubles. But man, when he gets something middle in, makes an adjustment, it's over.
All right, we need to take a quick check of traffic. We have a few more minutes this hour, though, and I know since we got Jake Mintz coming up at the top of the hour, you want to kind of move up our little reset here, and you have something you actually wanted to bring up.
Well, I was thinking about Strasburg and Little League. And I know we have tier ones out there that have faced him, but it's got me. I have to do something that I'll explain. It's going to take up 48 hours of my time, and I need your help.
Okay. That's coming up after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Mini Donut Company. Well, guys, the real hot spot this morning would be westbound 52 out of Santee, just past Mast Boulevard. Crash, which resulted in a vehicle fire. Fire's been out for a while. Everything's over the right shoulder, but yeah, you're still at a crawl out of Santee. Again, that is West 52 past Mast Boulevard. Also, traveling on the northbound 15 just before the 8, we have reports of a possible brush fire over to the right shoulder. Fire crews blocking that slow lane. Southbound side of the 805 before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. We're getting reports of what looks like a trash bin in the slow lane. And Cordell traffic cam shows a collision on northbound 15 before Bernardo Center. got a couple vehicles involved in that crash there over the right shoulder. Sometimes an entire donut just seems a little too much, okay? Enter the Mini Donut Company with dozens of rotating traditional and seasonal flavors. The Mini Donut Company is perfect for office catering, parties, weddings, or a fun treat for the family. Visit getminidonuts.com. I'm Kelly Donick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I'm trying to think, what is it that could take 48 hours of your time involving Little League? That doesn't seem right.
So you realize I've only coached T-ball to this point until this weekend.
Now you've gotten into
Pinto.
Coach pitch or machine pitch?
I did coach pitch too, but that was different. I pitched. So you could just do the lineup. Kids could play anywhere. Well, now you get up to a little bit different division. So I'm scrolling through the rules last night to be prepared. Make sense of this for me. You ready? Because you're good at this stuff.
I am.
Each player must play at least 4 innings defensively in a game that goes full 6 innings and shall not rest in consecutive innings. No player shall sit 2 innings until each player has sat at least 1 inning. No player may play more than 2 innings at any one position per game except first base and catcher. These players are allowed to a maximum of 3 innings at first base or catcher per game. Catcher must play 3 innings with full gear. Catchers not in full gear must be at the back of the batter for safety reasons. Each player must play at least 1 inning of outfield. Each player must play at least 2 of the first 5 innings in an infield position. Each player must play at least 1 of the first 5 innings in an outfield position. Each player may not play more than 4 innings of infield. The coach and the parents may only waive this rule after consultation and concurrence by league director prior to each game. You tell me how
by penalty of death.
How on God's green earth, guys? I got 9 players coming on.
I got it.
9 players coming on Sunday.
This is very easy. Don't worry about it, because if anybody calls you out on it, they are a psychopath that should be nowhere near a Little League field. I've been watching Johnny all day. He's only played 3 innings in the infield.
I read this thing.
Holy crap.
I read this thing 40 times. And I wrote notes. I listed players. I started to do okay, if Bo plays first, he can only go. Ben, so here's
what I would recommend.
Well, here's my other question to you. What are we doing?
You're trying to make sure that there's no kids get left behind and get stuck on the bench, and everyone gets an opportunity to play all the positions.
I can do.
This is to prevent parents who just want to make their kids stars from putting them at shortstop the whole game and
what
ignoring
if my
the other
kid
players.
Is the best shortstop?
Doesn't matter.
But
you got to move them around. This is not the level for it. And eventually you get to that level. Here's what I would quickly recommend, just based on what you just said, and I stopped listening about halfway through. But
yeah, I figured.
I would recommend creating a pod system. So, each 4 players are in a pod, and they rotate 1 inning, in infield, outfield, on the bench throughout the game. So they keep
infield,
moving.
outfield, bench.
Yeah,
infield,
and you've got different
bench.
pods. So you've got a right field, a center field, a left field, and then they're also in the infield pods where they move around, and you make sure that each guy kind of moves and rotates throughout the game, so they get all their positions and their innings in to remain in compliance with the most complicated Little League rules I've ever heard in my life.
I wonder if that's nationally adopted rule type thing, or if it's just Encinitas Little League.
So here's the thing,
ask our next guest, Jake Mintz. He coaches Little League out in the Bronx.
Again, when I didn't start playing Little League until I was 10, but when I was 10, Coach
Have Mike Shildt do it for you.
Yes, I will. I'll run these by him.
Great
All right,
idea.
Shilty, do you have time today? If you could you?
I need some help. Here are the rules. How do I do this, Mike?
Paulie, when I turned 10, you know what the coach said? Get in right field and stay there until I tell you to sit on the bench.
You get your minimum 2 innings, and that was it.
God.
All right, I'm looking forward to this at 9 o'clock when Mike Shildt solves Woods' Little League dilemma. First, though.
You thought your rules were tough?
Yeah. What? You got a 3-pitcher batter minimum, whatever. Jake Mintz next.
feedback here from some Little League parents. Thank you for that. Our pal Scott Lewis sent me a form. Somebody else is emailing me a form to use. Now, somebody asked me, hey, man, just do an Excel spreadsheet. I'm 49 years old. I have never once opened Excel. I want to keep it that way until the day I die. I never want to open. It's kind of like a lot of people want to run a marathon, a triathlon or something. Not me. I want to get through life without doing that. Opening Excel. What's happening? You guys are looking at each other.
Paulie needs to answer the phone quickly.
Creepily.
It's fine. Just give him 1 second here. Yes, I mean you're acting like you should be able to play Bo just because he's so good.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. Jocelyn said you can't just put your kid at the premier position. He's a really good infielder.
I know. It's not that he doesn't deserve it, but at this level, you have to be fair and give. How is someone who is not as good ever going to get a chance to play shortstop and get better if the coach's
like
son is always there?
Practice like Bo does, or have their dad coach.
I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Right?
I am skeptical.
What happened? What's happening? What's happening?
I don't know what's happening.
What is going on right now?
I don't know.
You guys are keeping a secret. Who just called?
He's still on the phone, so that's fine. I was.
All right, he didn't want to go on the air.
Okay, that's fine.
Well,
so I don't even know if I should say his name, but a former Padres pitcher is listening.
What'd he say?
And he calls in and he goes, "Oh my God, dude, I dropped the kids off at school. I got you guys on, and tell Woodsy." He's like, "I know exactly what he's going through.
I'm in hell with this."
He's like, "There's a website that I use. It's called freebaseballlineups.com." He goes, "Now it's not free, but I swear it helps. You got to check it out." Why it's called freebaseballlineups.com if it's not free, I don't know.
Well, I'll pay.
But
I don't care. What's one more subscription?
I literally told him, don't have to worry about that. That won't be a problem. So thank you for being a tier 1.
Oh, that's rad.
I don't know if he wants to
turn the mics off.
No, I'll say it.
No,
I won't say his name. I'll just say he makes a heck of a French bread frozen pizza. Let's just say that. You can figure it out from there.
Oh, okay. I got it. Kind of. I'm so nervous about this on Sunday, man. I am so nervous. Holy cow.
All right. Do we have our guest
We
yet?
are waiting on
We're
Jake
still
to
waiting
join
on
us here in
Jake.
just a
So
second.
he could, as Paul said, have some thoughts on this as well because he's coached a lot of Little League there in Harlem as he's done.
Yeah,
really cool.
He does. It's just an interesting. Again, like this just goes to show you how much the game has changed, really, and how much I think our believe me, I have had kids on my team that struggled. I don't want to see them struggle. It's my job to make them better. Is putting them in a position to there was one kid I put him at pitcher, and they don't pitch yet, but that's where most of the balls come. Ball hit him in the throat. Ball hit him in the nuts. Didn't make the throws. And I was like, this is not good for him. I just need to work more with him, or his dad needs to work more with him. So it's not about me playing Bo for 6 innings at short. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to do that. I never have. Never did that in T-ball. But it is about. I think it's important, is it not, for the kids to know, like, if I put you in center field, be a center fielder for a game, right? Like, be a center fielder. See how you respond. We have multiple games where I can try you at third. I can try you at short. And I realize they're 6 and 7 years old, and there's plenty of time for that. But I think the quicker the kids can learn it, the better. Not everybody's a third baseman or a first baseman. I have so many kids that want to play first, and I will literally tell them, you can't catch. You have to be able to catch to play first.
Well, I think the kids who are not as advanced, well, you'll probably, when they get them to the infield, you get them at second, or third for an inning or two, and they'll play more in the outfield. I mean, you can still put your better players at short and pitcher and first for more of the time, even if you're rotating them between the infield and the outfield.
Bo loves outfield, so he's not going to have any problem playing center. You know why? Because of Jackson Merrill.
Well, he will, just because there won't be a lot of balls that get out there.
There'll be almost none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be the frustrating part. He'll go, I'm ready to go. And it's like, you sit out there in the outfield, and sometimes the ball will never come to you.
Ralph is right. He said there's an element of safety coaches have to put first. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. So I just think, being able to move kids around at my own and not worry, he played 3 innings at first instead of 2. And Scott Lewis said, don't worry, dude. If you screw up, they will call you out on it. There are those that I would be the dad that would not. I don't care. I don't care what you do. Don't steal signs and be goofy and things like that. But, like let's teach them playing positions is important, paying attention is important, all of that. So, whatever.
That was an insane list of expectations though, for coaches to have to keep track of every single game.
Mike says Woods expecting Jackson Merrill out of 6 and 7. No, my kid likes Jackson Merrill and he likes playing the outfield because of Jackson Merrill. I do think there's something cool. Have I lost the plot here? When I was a kid and my coach,
it was different when we were kids.
Well, hold on. But when I knew, like, hey man, I play third. I was a third base. I was cool with that. I had to do my job.
I mean, do you remember 6 and 7? You're thinking
I didn't start
maybe
playing until I was 10.
Yeah, you're thinking a little bit later. Now, when you get 11 to 12, you're going to have more regular positions and stuff. But you're still at the 6 and 7 level. Everyone plays all over the place at that point.
Ready?
I am ready. Yes.
I'm ready.
Is the married guy ready? Congratulations. 2 weeks ago, he was just about to get married. He had a saxophone with him. He was going to play it at the wedding. I'm dying to know how that went, and we are joined right now by Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Our weekly segments brought to you by our friends at Grand Old Barbecue. Jake, Mr. Mintz. Well, you were always Mr. Mintz. Now there's a Mrs. Mintz. How are you?
I'm good. I'm married.
You are.
Congratulations, buddy.
You wearing your wedding ring right now?
Pretty great. Being married, like being married. No notes on it. 10 out of 10.
So you did the saxophone. Now, we talked to Jordan last week. Ben was out, so he doesn't know this.
Correct.
But the saxophone that you played, Sweet Virginia from the Stones, I believe, was the song. Jordan said it went really well. Could you confirm?
It went well enough, yeah. I mean, pulling out a surprise saxophone when everyone believes you don't play the saxophone, it doesn't really matter how you play the saxophone. That's what I learned. But yeah, it was a hit. It turns out getting married is freaking fun, dude. Is really what I'll say.
My anniversary is on Sunday. 7 years.
Would you like him to play the saxophone?
I would like you to play. I would like you to play the saxophone.
Okay, sure. Whatever you need.
Okay, good.
All right, let's start with Shohei Ohtani just to get it out of the way. Because we're
why
wow.
We've already done it. We already did it.
Whoa.
Well, we already did it.
We did it, but I feel like Jake needs to say his piece. It was an historic achievement, no doubt about it. It's getting maybe an insane amount of hype, but maybe he deserves it. I mean, it's been an incredible season for Shohei Ohtani. What more should we have to say about this, Jake?
That's it.
It is important as we, people who evaluate sports, it's important for us to hold multiple thoughts in our head at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. It is easier than ever to go 50-50. It is still outrageously impressive to do it. Both of those things are true.
Sure.
And Ohtani, who, by the way, I believe the most bases he ever stole in Japan was 7. Okay.
26 for the Angels, I think. But yeah, like that wasn't a huge part of his game.
No. And now he's just like, oh, I'm bored. I have all this free time because I'm not pitching. I'm just going to steal bases. It was amazing for him to do it in Miami, where he had the other greatest moment of his career. And the WBC was great. Other underrated superstar from yesterday, Skip, just going after Ohtani. I'm sure you talked about that already. Pro move, not dodging greatness. You run out of things to say about Shohei. I understand that people in San Diego are probably tired of it, but I see a lot of tweets that are like MLB's tweeting too much about Shohei. Like,
I was one of them. They are 22 tweets in 19 hours.
Instagram posts.
Instagram.
No,
that's
wrong.
It's too much.
You're not the audience, dude.
Richard Ramirez did not stalk as bad as MLB does. It's stalker behavior. 22 is too much.
It is the correct decision to make. You are utterly wrong about this. If Shohei Ohtani wore brown and gold, you would be talking about how they don't tweet about him enough. You're incorrect. He is generational. He is singular. He deserves all of these plaudits and all of the attention and more. He is crossing over into the larger sports world in a way that no other player, even Aaron Judge, can.
All right.
And every tweet that MLB sends out is not to placate people living further south.
All right, I'm sorry I brought it up again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we all are.
Let's move on.
We
Let's
all are.
ask about something else,
I have
please.
no idea now. I'm all spun out about this Little
Let's go
League
back to
thing.
Little League talk.
Yeah, we can do Little League
All right, let's
talk.
go back to Little League talk.
Jake, you still coaching your team in the Bronx?
Oh yeah.
What age
I
group?
am not coaching. I'm not coaching this fall because I got married. But I'm thinking about coaching Little League all the time.
What age group?
I've coached from 6 to 12,
All right. So
anywhere in there.
I'm starting Pinto this weekend with my son, machine pitch, and they laid some rules on me that it's like the Constitution. It's like trying to follow the Constitution of rotation of players, and no player can play more than blah, blah, blah. I've had a couple people send some, apps and things that they use. Former Padres pitcher called in with an app that he uses. It's a lot, man, trying to keep the game fair. And make sure that everybody gets a turn at different positions. What were your struggles like with that? Because it's killing me.
So it's tough because on one hand, it's 7 years old, 8 years old.
6 and 7.
6 and 7. The goal at that point is to ensure that everyone has a good time. Like that is it.
That's
right?
always what I want to do.
That's literally the entire point of Little League baseball. However, part of making sure kids have a good time is that the kids who are more skilled are having the opportunity to develop. That's part of them having a good time, right? And making sure that they have opportunities. At that age, outfield is a pointless endeavor. It is fetch.
Yes.
It's just straight up run and chase.
Standing there.
Yeah. There are like 3 important positions. Whoever stands next to the machine, okay, most important position.
Yes.
First base.
Yep.
And then shortstop. Those are the 3 that matter, really. And so I would just not stress at all. Like none of it matters remotely. As you get more competitive, things change. And honestly, when they turn 11, outfield gets really cool. Oh, yeah. And whichever kid
100%.
figures out when outfield gets cool, they're the ones who are having a really good time.
Yeah, my son's 6 and loved playing infield, and now wants to play in the outfield because of Jackson Merrill, and wants number 3 because of Jackson Merrill. That's Merrill great. Has made it cool to play outfield.
That is great, and also hilarious that Fernando Tatis did not make it cool to play outfield.
Yeah, right.
First,
right. Like he was too. I think he was
funny.
Too little to really grasp it, and just he looks at Jackson Merrill and is like, I mean, he loves all the players. He loves them all.
What's great is your kid's gonna spend like 10 minutes in the outfield and be like, I am.
Yeah,
bored.
this is terrible. This is terrible. Well, the races are certainly heated up. Couple of teams have clinched. I will say, very impressed by what the Milwaukee Brewers did this year. Very impressed by the Cleveland Guardians as well. The Dodgers have clinched. That was a foregone conclusion, certainly. But I know it's going to get pretty tight in a couple of races down to the wire. The Twins and Tigers thing is really fascinating to me.
The Tigers kind of snuck up on everybody. And if you go look at their roster, it's a lot of relatively anonymous players. And part of that is because they're super young. None of their position players have really more than 3 years of service time, which is remarkable considering how well they've played. And they really have 2 starting pitchers, Kiter Montero and Tarek Skubal, who's going to win the Cy Young. Everyone else is like an opener and a bulk guy and bullpen hodgepodge get. But remember who the manager of the Detroit Tigers is. A.J. Hinch, who led all those Astros teams back in the day. Yeah. That is a man who knows what he is doing. He knows the job. He knows how to win baseball games. And they've cut the gap down to 0. I mean, they're tied right now heading into the penultimate weekend of the season. The Twins have the tiebreaker over the Tigers. So if they finish tied, Minnesota does get in. But the Tigers are a fascinating team to watch right now. And I think that we all deserve to give the AL Central an apology. They were the butt of many jokes for being the worst division in baseball. And they have 4 teams either in the postseason or in the mix with a week and a half to go.
Tigers also have something in common with the San Diego Padres, Jake, and that is 3 remaining games against the Chicago White Sox. And the Padres get them. Padres get them this weekend. Now, we're a little worried about it. The White Sox are on the cusp of history. If the Padres sweep them, they will tie the Mets for most losses all time. And there will probably be some attention on that. So how should we approach this? We talked about it yesterday in our roundtable. Like, you can never insist on a sweep, yet at the same time, for the first time in my life, I feel like I want to insist on a sweep from my baseball team.
Insisting on a sweep is is unfair. However, the experience of watching your team play the White Sox is like so. At first, you worry and you visualize the embarrassment of losing to the White Sox, right? And the White Sox might put some runners on early. They might work through the top of your lineup in the first or the second. But in the end, their inability to play the game of baseball well usually wins out or loses out, rather. And the sheer lack of quality on the field is so overwhelming that your team eventually usually just wins the baseball game and the worries evaporate. You will have a moment in watching the Chicago White Sox closely where you will go, wow, they are really bad. And then you will go, oh, yeah, that's why they have 117 losses.
I get it, but I mean, they all got to the big leagues at some point.
Sure,
I mean,
they're
they
big
can't
leaguers,
be,
man.
I just don't understand how they could be that bad. They all got to the big leagues. They're big league baseball players. What happened?
Yes, but they're all the starters are bench players on competent teams, and the bench players are AAA players.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then in the rotation, that's really, to me, the major thing is the rotation. Because it's like you're just out of games right away. You know, you've probably bought, like, you remember when Adam Mazur was doing his best?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just, you would feel like the game was over.
But we
by
won
the
a
third.
couple of those games. We did. I mean,
Yeah. Better example right now is what's going on with Taijuan Walker in Philly. Like, he starts a game and they're down 6-1 in the third, and there's just no point in playing the rest of it, really. And for the White Sox, that's like 4 out of 5 days. It's like that. Okay. And so everyone just gets down and downtrodden, and it's just a bummer almost immediately.
all right. Well, I think you made me feel a little bit better about this weekend, Jake. Appreciate it. As always,
Thanks,
again,
buddy.
Congratulations on the wedding. And I think the next time we talk to you will likely be postseason baseball. So looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm just going to say, too many people are picking the Padres right
I know. I hate it, too. I just want it under the radar, bro. I want it under the radar.
They need to lose the game to the White Sox, I think, is the best thing for
To
them.
get people off the scent, maybe? Yes.
Yeah, you gotta get people off the trail.
I'm with you, too. I saw who I love, Trevor Plouffe, was like, I'm like, shut up. Just shut up, dude. No big moves, no videos, no raps. That's all I'm asking from our fan base. But thank you, buddy.
Jake Mintz, Cespedes Family Barbecue, Yahoo Sports, and their weekly segment brought to you by our friends at Grand Ole Barbecue. Check them out today in North Park, Flint Springs, and at the ballpark. Last chance this weekend. Regular season brisket at Grand Ole Barbecue.
Oh, it sounds
Just go get it early before the lines get too big.
Oh, I'm going tonight. I might.
Are you going tonight?
Yeah, I am going tonight.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I am. Excited.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yes,
Musgrove?
Joe Musgrove. Yes, our starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can't lie. Yeah, I'm going tonight, and I was thinking about going Sunday, but I don't think I can. Because I have to coach.
And spend hours and hours prepping, apparently, for it.
A lot of rules.
All right, we still have Mike Shildt, our manager's report, coming up at 9 o'clock. Reindl Report as well. Haven't gotten into Thursday night football last night. All ahead after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods at 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Anybody watch some Thursday night football last night?
I watched a little bit.
I did.
Watched a
Turned
little
on
bit.
my Prime on my phone and caught. I did have a Brees Hall's on my fantasy football team, so he had a touchdown. At least got some points. He got a lead over Scraby. But the narrative last night, And I think it was pretty accurate. Was Aaron Rodgers looked pretty prime Aaron Rodgers-ish.
I saw
very
him,
accurate.
And I saw him pull one down and run for a first down.
Could still move it. For 40 years old,
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, pretty athletic.
Not considering myself an Aaron Rodgers fan. But
Now,
if you're a Jets fan, I think you were very encouraged by last night's performance.
Did Robert Saleh, was he under the pressure of getting the backup quarterback in to get some reps as well? Make sure he gets his taste as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's
no,
a
he's just
paid
free to
professional
he's
level.
free to run his team as he chooses.
I did have a Robert Saleh
How cool is
story
that?
for you, though, and I think it applies to me. So after the first touchdown last night, Aaron Rodgers goes over to Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets.
This is great.
And it looks like, for some reason, like Aaron Rodgers gave him like a shove away.
He
Like,
went for a hug, and Rodgers was like, nope.
yeah, and then he went for kind of a hand slap shake, and then he kind of started to go in for the hug, and Aaron just gave him the stiff arm, essentially. 2 hands, stiff arm. We don't need to hug. And everyone started speculating, is there something going on between these two? Is there an inner feud that has not been reported between Aaron Rodgers and the coach of the Jets? Now, there shouldn't be. Robert Saleh has bent over backwards for
Literally
the entire time Aaron Rodgers has been on the Jets to not say a single thing, despite all the off-the-field stuff, the injury, whatever. Robert Saleh has been Mr. I'm Aaron Rodgers' biggest fan for the entire time. So there shouldn't be a feud. So when asked about it after the game, Aaron Rodgers simply said of Robert Saleh, he's not a big hugger. And I think he was trying to like make his coach feel comfortable. Like, you don't have to hug me. I know that in now 2024, modern guys, what they're supposed to do when they're celebrating is a big hug. But like Robert Saleh, I'm also not a hugger. And it becomes awkward when someone comes in for a hug. And I will do it, but it's not my natural move. And obviously it's not Robert Saleh's natural move either. Is that okay?
Aaron Rodgers' natural move.
Well, he was trying to force it. He felt like I do, like I would with you. I've got to. Woodsy's here. We haven't seen each other in a while. He's going to want a hug. What do I do? How do I go in for a hug when I'm not? I'm an awkward. See, Paulie, he's coming over here.
Come on.
This big one. Paulie pulls his.
That was so uncomfortable.
Paulie doesn't
know why.
Paulie does an ass out hug though. The right way.
Do we have to do this
the
again?
right way to hug, stand up, is this. When
There was the chair.
You go. No, you get in there.
You're going to pick me up.
Yeah, just like that. That's how you do it. You don't need to put your ass out.
I tense up.
You do.
I
That was
tense up.
uncomfortable
Feels
for me.
good, man.
And it's not a guy thing either. I also tense up hugging. I'm just not a hugger, really.
Big hugger
I can
here.
hug my wife, okay, and that's about it. I'm not really comfortable hugging anyone else, and I don't know why.
Love a hug. Love a big hug.
I have a problem, but it's good to know that I'm not the only one, that maybe Robert Saleh is somewhat Ben-like in that, just not a great hugging person. I guess I don't know. I guess I'm afraid.
Why are you saying it's Robert Saleh that's not a hug?
That's what Aaron Rodgers said.
It's Aaron, though.
I thought
No.
Aaron was the one that pushed him away.
He
Aaron
did.
pushed him
he
away.
did, but he
You
said,
don't have to
Aaron,
do this?
Aaron said he's not a big hugger, and I think it was like, you don't have to do this. Like, I'm not going to make you hug me.
Oh, I see.
That's
what
weird.
Yeah, so he put, no, it's okay. You don't have to hug me. I'm good. Aaron was trying to be helpful to his head coach, and by giving him the old stiff arm, like, no, you don't have to hug me. I know you don't want to do it. Don't do it. You,
I won't
unlike
do that
you,
to you. I'll make you.
You make me hug.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
like
it's-
the uncomfortableness.
It's good for you. It's good for you. Hugs are good. Hugs can heal. Healing hugs. Healing hands and hugs.
I don't know why I can't get comfortable hugging
I don't either.
people.
I don't either.
I always overthink it. I don't know. How many times do you have to, how well do you have to know someone before you go in for a hug?
Not very.
Like, there's so many times, like
barely at all.
Someone
Barely.
comes into studio and Woods gives him a hug, and I give him a handshake. I'm a good handshaker.
The guy, the guy I ran into in San Francisco, the one whose mother was sick and he was taken care of here. We had his wife on for Valentine's Day. Once he told me who they were when he came up to introduce himself, I looked at him and I go, come here. And I just put my arms around him, gave him a big old hug. I'd never met that guy before in my life, but it was such a sweet story that I just gave him, I wanted to give him a big hug because I felt like he deserved it. He lost his mom. So I was like, get in here. Gave him a big hug. I'm just a hugger, though. It's never gotten me in trouble. I don't think I've ever hugged anyone I wasn't supposed to hug.
You don't think so?
But I'm a hugger. Well, I've never gotten in trouble for it. No one's ever said it makes me uncomfortable, except for you. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I do not care.
Have you hugged Adam?
Yeah, many times.
Many
Can
you
times.
imagine me and Adam hugging?
Never.
It would never happen. It would just never happen. And you've hugged Adam.
Anna McKee says, "Woods looks like a good hugger." I'm an elite hugger.
Like I couldn't
I don't
imagine
do much
hugging
well.
Tony Gwynn Jr. or Chris Ello or.
I've hugged Tony Gwynn Jr.
You have?
Yeah.
I've never hugged him.
Yeah.
Mike Shildt.
A big hugger.
Have you hugged Mike Shildt?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
I will, though.
Again, I can't even imagine that.
I'm going to next time I see him.
Do I have a problem?
Yes.
What is it?
You're shut off, emotionally closed off. That's what you are. We could do an hour on this.
I feel like I have a good emotional connection with both of you.
You do. But
it doesn't. It's not physical.
Right.
In the hugging department.
Correct. Did you give your kids hugs?
No.
Oh my God.
I probably don't go 20 minutes without giving one of my kids a hug. I really
I did when they were little, but now that they're grown,
I still hug my dad. I kiss my dad on the cheek.
Never hug.
Man.
Not my dad and I don't hug.
Joey says confirm Woodsy's a good hugger. He comes in the dugout on Sundays. I see him. I give him a big hug.
Joey's a good hugger.
Joey's a good hugger. Did you ever hug Reggie?
Yeah,
your dog.
I can hug my dogs. I have a problem.
Yeah. Therapy will help. Try BetterHelp /KWFN. You get 10% off your first.
I don't necessarily feel like it's a major stumbling block in my life. You don't need to hug people.
You do.
I still feel the connection. I feel the love. I don't actually have to feel the love to feel the love.
Okay. I bet your kids would like a hug today.
No,
Next time you go see, you walk in and Jack's there. You walk right up to him, you give him a big
We're all big,
it
large
doesn't matter.
guys. It just feels awkward.
Do you know how happy he's going to be? Here's the thing. No one's ever gotten a hug and gone, oh, that was terrible. I really hated that. From their
I
dad.
feel like most people who get a hug from me think that was terrible.
No way.
You
I
did a
love
bad
hugging.
job.
I love hugging you. I will always hug you. Go hug your kids today. Everybody listen, go hug your kids.
All right, Paulie's got the Reindl Report when we come back.
Ben, you ever hug your kids? No. Just elite.
So matter of factly.
Elite.
It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Someone asked you, what is this show about? The Ben and Woods program.
What isn't it about?
Well, it's about the pills we take, Little League, and hugging.
Yeah,
obviously.
today, yeah.
Obviously, that's what the show is about. Especially when there was no Padres game yesterday. And no one wants me to talk about Shohei Ohtani anymore. That's clear.
Oh, my God.
That topic is now forbidden and restricted.
Are you going to
the
ask?
rest of the
Are you
day.
going to ask Shildt about Shohei?
I'm not going to ask Shildt about Shohei.
Padres have actually handled him pretty good, knock on wood.
Honestly,
Knock on
if
wood.
we only mentioned Ohtani today with Shildt, I think that actually would have been fair and appropriate.
That's fair.
I thought about a question.
Well,
but
I'll tell you what.
I couldn't really come up with, what's the question you asked?
Well, the other thing, too, is
Like, what do you do with a guy like that on the other side?
if there was a Padres game last night, we wouldn't have done Shohei Ohtani at 6:35. There's just we wouldn't have mentioned him until later in the show because there was a Padres game. But there wasn't. Last night was a bit of a slow night, certainly, unless you're a Jets fan or a Pats fan, which I am not.
I don't remember them walking Shohei Ohtani intentionally. At
The
all.
Pods?
Padres, yeah, they faced him a bunch this year.
Somebody
they've gone after him. They've had decent success against him.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody sent me the numbers against the Padres, and they're not great at all. And I think that was that way with the Angels too. So yeah, but I mean, listen, that can change.
I remember last year he didn't get a hit in the entire series against the Padres.
That can turn on a dime, certainly.
But the Padres have good starting pitching, good bullpen.
Yep.
You facing the
Here we go.
Marlins.
Ready?
Yeah.
Batting 188 with 12 hits, 2 homers, 6 RBI, 9 runs scored in 21 games against the Padres in his career.
That's holding him in check for the most part.
Absolutely.
So you continue to do whatever you've been doing
Yeah,
so
don't change
far
a thing.
this season. Continue that. All right, Paulie's got a Reindl Report. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Kearney Mesa Volkswagen. Got a few problems here, guys. Crash blocking lanes on eastbound 54 near Highland. Also on the eastbound 8 Mission Gorge off-ramp stalled. Vehicle partially in lanes. Collision in the North County, northbound side of 15, just before the 78. That's got the right lane blocked. San Diego, don't let these deals slide by. Kearney Mesa Volkswagen, now part of Sedano Auto Group, has your ticket to ride. 2024 Tiguan S, $259 monthly. 2024 Jetta S Sedan, $179 monthly. Step up to the plate and find your ultimate VW at VWofKearneyMesa.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things
Oh,
started
sorry.
here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sorry for cutting you off there, Paulie.
No problem.
On that, I wanted to make a note. I just saw a Dodger fan tweet. Skip Schumacher is always invited to the carne asada, and I thought to myself, somebody made the point last night on Twitter. Skip. I mean, if Dave Roberts doesn't get the job done, what if he's gone and Skip's the new manager, and then it all flips on me? It will no longer be.
Ben, you do a great job.
It'll be Skip saying, Woods, you do a great job.
Yes, it will be.
And I went, oh, no.
Yes, it
Every
will be.
3 weeks, Woods will be like, hey, what if we get Skip Schumacher on the show? And Ben will be like, I'll kill you.
I will kill you.
I will murder
How
you.
dare you? He's the manager of the Dodgers. I think you know that the end. I think you know better, Paulie. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you.
I mean, don't know what's going to happen with the Dodgers, but if they do need a new manager, Skip went a long way yesterday in
He
earning
did.
a lot of goodwill from Dodgers fans with his comments and his lip reading. Didn't hurt his chances if that's something that he indeed is interested
Woods,
in.
you do a great job. It'll be the worst thing ever. Go ahead, Paulie. Sorry about that.
All righty. We'll start off in college football. I think maybe in our 9 o'clock hour, I think we'll have some time. Benny, do you have a Super Saturday?
I have my Ben
viewing?
Super Saturday lineup for
All
you.
right,
Yep.
So we'll look forward to that. I don't know that this game is going to make it into that list, but maybe.
Oh, yeah.
#1 Texas they're going to have a change at quarterback this week due to injury. Quinn Ewers is still recovering from, he had an oblique injury, and that means Arch Manning going to make his first collegiate start for the #1 team in the country. They're taking on University of Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. I don't think they're ranked.
It's a good soft landing spot for Arch Manning, I would think, but still a tremendous amount of pressure, Benny. You know, the highly touted Arch Manning.
You know, he came in and threw the 4 touchdown passes in relief, so he's kind of got a little bit under his belt there. But yeah, there's always going to be a lot of attention placed on anyone with a Manning in his name.
100%, and getting a start. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I wonder what the line is on that game. But
kid is 6'4", 225. Top prospect of his class.
I want to hear if he talks. Now, who's his dad?
He's Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper's is his dad, yes.
I wonder if he talks
the unsuccessful Manning brother. That's not fair to Cooper.
I heard he was actually really good.
I have heard he's cool and good.
No, I heard he was like a good
He's a good player. Yeah, he's
just not
his brothers.
Eli and Peyton.
Trying to see if I can find a line for you here quickly. Texas -44.
Wow. Okay.
5 o'clock tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That game's on ESPN Plus, SEC Network, so it's not even on
check him out. I didn't see him in the last game. So.
All right, moving on to baseball. It's a very bizarre injury. We've talked about weird injuries in the past, and man, when it rains, it pours, I guess, for the Miami Marlins organization, because their first-round pick, PJ Morlando, he had a season-ending injury, and it was reported that he injured himself in a weightlifting competition that the guys were all doing during a rain delay last month. You see it all the time in college baseball, even minor league baseball, sometimes even Major League Baseball. When there's a rain delay, guys might do a slip and slide on the tarp. They goof around. They have some fun. They're trying to pass the time. And this team decided to have a weightlifting competition down in the weight room, and he injured himself. He's out for the year. He's already starting to swing a bat again, and they say he'll be fine for spring training next year, but his season is over for the first-round draft pick.
Team organized weightlifting competition. I mean, I think it's probably a bit of a freak injury, right? I mean, they do that stuff a lot.
Yeah, you probably should never be competing and straining yourself when it comes to the weightlifting.
It would be different if they were like, hey, let's go out to the parking lot and recreate the Fast and the Furious with all of our cars as a team organized event. This is weightlifting. You have to lift weights. Let's make it fun. And he got hurt. It's a bummer. And again, like you said, things always bad to worse for the Marlins. 20-4 last night. My God.
I feel like Skip has got 9 games left to worry about it, and then it's someone
I was
else's.
in the kitchen. The game was
Gabe
on.
Kapler's problem, man.
Guaranteed.
I wasn't paying attention. The game was on. I heard Ohtani did something again.
Right.
I kind of peek around the corner to look at the TV, and it was at an angle, so it looked like it was just 4-3 Dodgers over the Marlins. And then I moved a little bit. There was a glare on the screen. I go, oh, that's just 14-3.
14-3.
All right, I'm good.
I remember the last time we did one of our weightlifting competitions, and I thought to myself, one of us could really, really get hurt. So we should probably nip those in the bud. We actually did some weightlifting up there. You can see.
I don't know how much of a competition it was.
No, it's more like a fun afternoon.
All right, then finally, I'm not sure if this was a good idea or a bad idea or not, but Thursday Night Football last night, I believe this was after the game. I only watched a little bit of the first quarter, but on Amazon Prime, they got their studio crew there. Richard Sherman, I think is it Carissa Thompson, I think is part of it, and they have their whole crew, and they have a new segment called Late Hits with Nikki Glazer.
Okay.
I love Nikki Glazer.
Yeah.
I think she's very funny. We've had her on the show before.
We have, yeah.
She really rose to damn near superstardom earlier this year. She killed it at the roast of Tom Brady. And so clearly Amazon is trying to capitalize off of that momentum, and they brought her on to do quick hits around the league, talking about the game that was just played. And she definitely, I don't know if this was intended, but she definitely took it as if it were a roast.
Yes, Nikki Glazer when you hire her or ask her to come on, I don't think you're not bringing her on to analyze Ramondre Stevenson's poor outing last night, the fumble.
And she's not like Jeff Ross, where like they're only known for the roast.
Well,
she's got several
she's a comedian
specials.
But she's a roast.
She's a great roaster.
She took it on as a roast.
A lot of people are probably expecting me to get up here and just like roast everyone, but this isn't a roast. Like, you guys didn't sign up for this, so I'm definitely not gonna say that Richard Sherman looks like Busta Rhymes on Ozempic. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say that Andrew Whitworth. I'm not gonna say that Andrew Whitworth looks like Men's Warehouse Shrek, or
I like that one.
or that Tony Gonzalez looks like who my mom thinks about during one of her long baths. Tony, I do like your vibe though. You look like a genie you can only summon by rubbing the crotch of a sensible Talbot's pantsuit. But I'm not going to say any of that, because really I am so honored to be here tonight with all of these NFL legends and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Or, as your teammates called you, Sacked Galifianakis. So
Sacked Galifianakis. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Wasn't bad.
That's tough, man.
Wasn't
That's tough. That's tough company there. Like, to go in there with all those football players and drop the hammer on them all.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So she was on there for several minutes. I didn't want to play the whole thing, but
Sacked,
talked about
Sacked Galifianakis. It's really good.
pretty good.
He does look kind of like, with the beard.
Oh, big time.
Zach
Big time.
Galifianakis.
That's great.
And I did see that there's at least 4 more of those appearances from Nikki Glazer scheduled throughout Thursday Night Football the rest of the year.
It's always tough. Lisa just said they did not find it funny at all. Yeah, man. Like, when you're, like, guys, if I'm the boss,
Are you supposed to find a roast of yourself
yes,
funny?
100%.
Or at least everybody
dude,
else is.
You're supposed to be able to wear it, but like when you make fun of me, I'm okay with it, but I never find it extremely funny.
But I do.
Well,
Paulie
yeah,
does.
You do. That's
No,
fine.
so I'm saying if she's roasting Tony Gonzalez,
They
the
are
other guy
four,
should be funny.
and they just
Yeah,
sat
that's
there.
true.
play it
Okay.
up a little bit, like
Yeah.
at least pretend.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
I thought
got.
the jokes were fine.
When you roast me, I think it's hysterical.
You do?
Yes. Yes. It's always funny. Relax a little bit. Hug. Enjoy yourself a little bit more.
not
Jesus.
going to.
You're all bunched up,
Quit
man.
asking. I'm not going to.
You're all,
Quit asking.
You're all bunched up.
so quit asking.
Gosh. It's like Bo.
You
I can't even roast
hugging
Bo
Nick
anymore.
Saban. I can't do it.
I could. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Thank you, Paulie, for that. You're welcome. Shilty next. Wonder what he did on his off day. Any
He's gonna
guesses?
fix your little league team. We're gonna see what
I'm
he did
not
on his off.
asking him about that.
You're not gonna
No,
ask
I'm not
him?
going to ask him about that.
He had a detailed plan for you in like 30 seconds.
I'm not going to waste. You can ask him about it. I don't want to waste his time. Oh my Lord! Can you
I don't
imagine?
know if he was.
All we do is waste his time for 15 minutes every Friday.
It's true. It's funny. I was last week. You were out, so I was reading some more stuff about Shilty, and he started with coaching kids. So I wonder if he does have any advice.
We were talking last night about things we wanted to ask
Maybe I
Mike
will
Shildt
ask.
today, and you said I asked him that last week.
Yeah,
No, I asked him that last week.
Yep.
I missed it all.
Yeah, you did. You were playing golf. It's all right.
Fine. All right. Mike Shildt, Manager's Report, to kick off the final hour of the week of Ben and Woods. That is coming up next. He is, I guarantee you, just taking this game like every other game of the season. 162 of them. It is time
Play
to
our
face the
game.
White Sox
Yep.
today. We're playing ourselves, not the opponent, etc., etc. Coming up next with Mike Shildt on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Friday, getting you ready for the weekend. Last 3 home games of the season for your San Diego Padres. And it is time right now for the Manager's Report. We are joined by Padres skipper Mike Shildt, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It is better. And off days at home in baseball are very rare. With no travel,
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the course of the season, you may get 2 or 3 of them. This late in the season, Mike, I'd imagine that's a valuable day yesterday. How you doing, and how did you spend an off day at home?
Yeah, it was nice. I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well also.
Yeah.
No, it was a relaxing day. Caught up on a few personal things that can slip by as the season goes, and enjoyed the beautiful San Diego weather, and went to Michael King and his wife Sheila's event last night for type 1 diabetes they're raising money for, and that was a really well done event for a great cause, and did a lineup and getting ready for today's game.
Now, before we get into it, Woodsy doesn't really want to ask you, but he's got to bring it up because you've been dealing with the rule changes.
It's kind of hard to believe you don't want to ask.
I know, but he doesn't. This is actually something he doesn't want to ask.
All right.
You've dealt with like rule changes and the 3-batter minimum and everything in baseball. So he's coaching his little league team, and they have laid on this list of rules that he cannot even believe, and he needs just some help here. He needs some help managing his little league team, his Pinto League team.
They laid these rules on me, Shildt, about guys having to play a certain amount in the infield, in the outfield, and spend time on the bench. I just wanted. I'll take the Pod Sunday. You take the Durham Bulls in LCYO League. I don't know that anybody could figure these rules out. I realize, and I know you spent time, coaching youths at the start of your career. What is your advice for burgeoning coaches in the game of baseball, 6 and 7-year-olds?
I think the most important thing at that age is they enjoy it. I think it's really kind of no different than our guys. You want them to make sure when they come to practice or they come to the ballpark, they're excited about it. So I think that starts there. If they're not looking forward to it and they're not going to enjoy themselves, then it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge to whatever you're trying to accomplish. But get them to enjoy it. No labels. It really bothers them. It happens younger and younger at the youth levels where young players are being graded and evaluated and even cut. And we know it's competition, but as an A player, B player, C player, it's interesting. When I ran an academy, we did some travel teams, 100 years ago, and we had a really good group. We started with a group of 15-year-olds because I thought that was time where players should start to maybe, if they were serious about it still at 15 and they were wanting to go play collegially, I'd do my best to help them. So we put together this really, really good group of players that ended up doing some pretty cool things as a sidebar. But anyway, I got a guy named Brian Keegan, who at the time was an area scout and a pro scout with Tampa. And at the time he was with Houston. I said, "Hey, Keegs, would you evaluate this group and give me a little bit of a write-up on the guys, So we did a workout, and he came up to me and says, I got nothing for you. I said, you're a great evaluator. What do you mean? He said, well, yeah, I think I'm a pretty decent evaluator. And the guy really is a great judge of talent. He's rightfully in the profession. So he said, man, for me, it's too hard for me to judge what a 15-year-old player is going to be. And it just resonated with me clearly because here's a guy that's really good at evaluating talent. And at 15, he had a hard time identifying players. They grow, they mature differently. And at that point, we didn't label anybody. We let kids play. And I think it's a real mistake for kids to be, I'm only a this, I'm only a that. I can't play this. Let them play everywhere. Let them enjoy it. Let them have good experiences. Teach off what they can do. And then they can learn to think and play for themselves, and they'll enjoy it more.
It's a great answer. Great answer. So Keegs will not come out and evaluate the Pinto Durham Bulls on Sunday.
He will not.
All right,
he will
good.
not.
Then I guess I shouldn't either.
All right, let's start with something
Just
kind
let them have fun, man.
All right.
And, let them run around.
I want to start with something kind of fun because I was down there on Monday, and all of a sudden I look and go, that's Albert Pujols.
Yeah, crazy.
And he was there with his daughter to see Manny play, which was cool. But I saw you spending some time with him on the field, all that time together in the Cardinals organization. And I wanted to ask you, obviously, there were a lot of things that turned Albert Pujols into a Hall of Famer. You know, mashing the ball, picking it over there at first base. But what did you see in Albert, and then what do you see maybe in some of your own players that makes a guy successful in the big leagues to that level, to that Hall of Fame level?
Hunger, competitive spirit, drive. I mean, you know, talent clearly is there, but you know, if you want to put together seasons, you want to contribute to winning teams, put together seasons, put together a career where you stack up numbers and get the most out of your physical ability, you give nothing away. And Albert was I talked to him, got to know him, consider him to be a really good friend. He's a great guy, wonderful human being, does a lot of great things for community and charity. But I also learned by watching him. And I remember after he won his second MVP, I was just, you know, I'm always curious. I just want to study people because, you know, people's actions are going to speak louder than their words. And I was like, all right, he won his second MVP. He's coming to spring training. How's he going to go about it? And I remember being in the first spring training game, and I'd gotten to a point in the big league camp where I'd gotten, you know, a little more comfortable to be around, and, you know, it was a rite of passage kind of to get into it. But anyway, I'm sitting right beside Albert, and spring training games are starting. This is like 2008 or 9, whatever year it was. And I'm just getting a feel for, like, okay, what's this cat going to be like, you know? And he always had his towel. Of course, it was, you know, even humid at that time of year in March, late March in Jupiter. And he's just scowling and stalking the pitcher. And, you know, like I say, first spring training game, people are enjoying it, you know, having a good time. Not to say guys aren't paying attention, but it's just, you know, it's loose. And this guy was absolutely just stalking this dude. And he gave nothing away. And I watched him and you know, if you wanted to find Albert at, you know, at spring training, 7:00, he was going to be with Dave McKay in the cage doing his routine every single day.
Wow.
And you walked in and you wanted to watch it. It was great, but he wasn't going to be talking. He wasn't going to be hanging out. He wasn't going to be BSing. He was going to be working. And he just never gave anything away. And we have a lot of players that are very similar to that. You know, they love competition, and they love, you know, paying attention to the game and seeing the game and getting after it.
It's a great answer, great player. It was. I had no idea he was going to be there, and he walked out, and I was like, "That's the machine," and he's right there in front of me. You're going to love this one, Shildt, because I got chewed out yesterday on the Padres roundtable by Tony Gwynn Jr. Because I tweeted about Jerks and Profar. I love Profar so much, but the bunt in the third inning, and he chewed me out yesterday on the roundtable. I'm ready for you to chew me out here, but my question to you is, knowing we all know this about Pro, we know he plays his game, we know you let him play his game. If there's a situation where Pro comes up in that situation again, maybe different circumstances, you as the skipper, would you ever let him know through Tim Leeper or somebody else, don't bunt? We don't want you bunting here. We want you to swing away, Pro, because we like what you can do, or is he just kind of free to roam, I guess?
So Tony Gwynn didn't satisfy your answer.
I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, Skip, I guess.
I don't know, man. It's a fair question. I'm just curious. No, I understand the question, but I'm going to go back to what I was saying about, and clearly different levels.
Sure.
But my encouragement to the youth level, your job ultimately is to help players understand the game and to teach them the game. You know, regardless of the level you're going to be at, 6, 7-year-olds, clearly a different, you know, teaching level. But as you get to higher levels of baseball, one of the biggest things you can do, because what ends up happening when you let them play the game and you teach through the game, is you develop players that are confident and trust themselves.
Yeah. And
they know that you trust them. The other thing that nothing's nothing's absolute in this game, and that's where I think we can get in trouble. Not to say this is always the right way. What I'm telling you, I'm just telling you the way I see the world.
Sure.
And it's worked for me. And when I say nothing, everything can look the same, but the beautiful thing about the game is the depth of layers that go into the decisions. And so when people look at something and every situation in an absolute way. Like, he can't bunt there. He shouldn't be bunting there.
Yeah.
He should be doing X or Y. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair question. I can understand why you'd ask the question. But if you look up and recognize, like, I don't live in Pro For's body.
Sure.
But Drax, Pro, as most people know, played in 2 Little League World Series championships, right? Won one, lost one. Okay, so when he was 11 and 12, he's been playing high-level, competitive, meaningful, top of the level that he's at baseball games. And he's been doing that since he was 11 and 12 years old. So he's been doing that for 20 years, right? There's some intuition about the game that takes place after that period of time, right? I don't see this guy very well. I'm not feeling this good. Yeah. I've got some intuition about Valdez being a guy that's really tough. He's on the ground a lot. He's tough to score on. We want to get an early lead. We got a good bullpen. So all these factors, and then, like I said, how he sees him, how he feels, how he knows the guy behind him swinging the bat. So all these are pretty big variables. By the way, the guy behind him is Manny that day. So, those are the things that when you have intuitive players that know the game, see the game, and I say this a lot, championship players think and do for themselves, then that trust factor allows them to be free and play and not get on and later and be like, well, I don't see that guy. I'm not saying that was the case with Profar, but
yeah.
And then there is discussions. There's always discussions, going into games, and players have a game plan. And, that's the thing that's beautiful about it is situational, and there is communication about what and why. So longer answer to your question, but
it's a great answer.
Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense because, Woods, you've been doing radio for a while now, and you've probably had someone who says, hey, the numbers tell you should be teasing this in this segment. You go, I know, though. I know my audience. I know better. Yeah. And you do it your way. And someone will criticize.
100%.
That's not how you should do it, Woods, but you do it your way because you have the experience. And I think that's what Mike is saying.
And that's the hard. That's the thing that is also can be challenging, right? Is you do something that Tony would say, manage with your gut, don't cover your butt. What, based on your experience, or a player knows, and you trust the player to go perform.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always work out. But the second you do something that's against some kind of perceived norm or absolute, or is you open yourself up, and that's the gig, man. But the multiple layers of understanding the why is really where I live, at least.
It's such a great lead in, I guess, Shildt, to the next question I had is that, a team, you'll see it, and I don't want to name any teams, but we've all seen it. Like a team will play a certain way in the regular season, and then the playoffs come, and obviously I've got no idea. We have no idea what it's like to play or manage in a game of that much magnitude and pressure. I guess tempting is not the right word, but I guess maybe how tempting is it to tighten up a little bit while, you got to stay loose as the skipper. They got to stay loose as players, but obviously the pressure's on. How hard is it to continue to play a little free and easy when, the clock strikes October?
It's a fair question. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's not, it's not a challenge, but what I look for every day, whether it's the first game in Seoul, Korea, or a game in April or May or whenever, that I prepare every day like it's a playoff game. Like, my preparation will not change today or 2 weeks from now or the end of October. The game's a game. I owe the opportunity every day to be fully prepared and to stay present and to compete in the moment and to take it all with every situation, be on task and on point. And that way, when you get to, big moments or big games or whatever the case may be, you just normalized, the game and, playing the game and doing what the game calls for, as Toddy talks about. When you do that, you just get lost in the competition. And then that's all you can do. it's people like, oh, you want to bring more, you want to do more, you got to do more, because no, man, you do it all year, you do it every day, you do it in every circumstance, and you just, like I said, you normalize excellence to be prepared and regardless of a situation. I mean, I owe that to the club, and owe it to the people that show up and support us, and owe it to the organization to be on point at every turn. And that's regardless of circumstance.
That being said, and this is the last thing for me, knowing that you're preparing for tonight, playoff game one at a time, you're just trying to win as many as possible. At this time of year, I'd imagine you have to have some forethought, with what is coming up. Playoffs, setting up, making sure guys are set up and ready for a big series. What are those conversations like in terms of strategic planning as you now get close to October?
We haven't accomplished anything
yet,
so we just keep moving down the run, keep playing, keep going about it. There will be a time soon that we're looking forward to, that now you start to have a more clarity of what the picture looks like, but right now it's play today, get after today, and shake hands at the end of the day.
Not yet. All right, that's fair enough. All right, good luck this weekend. I know I don't have to worry that you're taking. We don't even have to ask you. We know you're taking the White Sox as seriously as you'd be taking the Dodgers or any other team. So good luck this weekend against the White Sox. It's been an incredible season, especially at home. I know the fans want to just kind of say thank you this weekend. It'll be big crowds and everything. So what a fun year this has been, and we'll talk to you next week when you guys are getting ready for that last series in Arizona.
Sounds great. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, there he is. The skipper, Mike Shildt, our manager's report, brought to you each Friday morning by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It's better.
That killed me. Oh, it's Tony Gwynn Jr. Wasn't enough
good
for
enough for you? Okay.
He explained it really well,
He
though.
did. He did. He always does, and I still get mad. I still yell
but
at
it
the
is.
TV.
It's true. I mean, we don't do both of us, and Paulie, too, on this show. We do a lot of things that don't go by
Against the grain.
book.
Yeah.
The radio book.
Why do I get so
were.
mad when other people go against the grain? That's very hypocritical of me. I get it.
Now, if it's someone, it's their first day, and they're going, you know what? I'm not going by the book. I'm doing my own thing.
It's true.
But Jerkson Profar, it's not his first.
No, not his first rodeo,
day.
for sure.
He's played a lot of, as he said, high level baseball.
Yeah.
You gotta trust those guys.
Yeah.
You do have to trust those guys.
I'm just going to shut up about bunting for the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, we're not going to stop talking about coaching because we did get a text back from the former Padre pitcher who called in earlier, and we can follow up on that with a name and everything included. So get to that coming up. More Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
It's a fun show today. I'm very happy with it. I've had a great time.
I'm glad you've had a great time with it. And it has been a pretty good show. It's good to take a break. I mean, we get into a routine during the summer months of baseball season. You know, spend a lot of time talking about the previous night's Padres game, but every once in a while, we got one of these days after an off day, and we can explore the space a little bit more.
Which I love. You know I love to explore the space.
You do.
I do, very much.
I don't know if anyone's ever loved exploring the space more.
Neil Armstrong, maybe. Potentially.
You are Captain Kirk.
That's right.
Going where no man has gone before.
That's right.
On the radio.
Keep it loose.
All right. So, he texted Paulie back. So earlier in the show, he said a former Padre had called in with his 2 cents on your Little League dilemma, saying we have dealt with the same things with the rules and trying to manage it. It's he sent you an app to help make it work, right? Thank you, Tim Stauffer.
Freebaseballlineups.com. Thank you so much, Tim. Tim said he listens driving his kids to school every day, so that's cool. Tim's a great dude.
He said he's like, Woodsy's not exaggerating. Like, it gives me anxiety with all these Little League rules.
I'm so happy to hear that, Paulie. You know, from a ex-big leaguer, like that makes me so happy. There's another rule too that I have to figure out it's to limit kids from taking extra bases on like a ball that goes past the first baseman or something. You have to get it. If it goes into the outfield, the outfielder has to get it to an infielder on the dirt, and then they throw their hands up, and then the play is dead. Again, I realize they're 6 and 7, but it's tough to like. And so now all of our kids, guess what they do? They field a ground ball, they throw it. The first baseman won't catch it, then he just throws his hands up. So now all the kids are running around with their hands up the whole time, which definitely is not like anything you'll ever see or anything that you would coach. But you have
Cops and robbers movie.
Yeah, you have to roll with the punches a little bit with all these options.
Now, I also got another text earlier. He did not play professional baseball, but my boy Aaron, he's the president of Rancho Penasquitos Little League.
Nice.
And he said, I joked, it was tongue in cheek, like, hey, don't even worry about it. That's my advice. Like, who's going to call you out?
Who's going to call you out,
like,
you said?
Get over yourself, guy. He said, Woods will get suspended if he doesn't follow the rules.
Wow.
He said, all of those rules are Little League International rules, minimum play requirements. He said, Encinitas rules have made them a little bit more complex. And he said, I had to suspend several coaches this year for not following minimum play rules.
And then when you're suspended, you have to stay like a minimum distance away from the field. So you'd be watching with binoculars to see how Bo is doing in his game while you're on
super
suspension.
Creepy if anybody's walking by.
Yeah.
Who's this guy looking at a bunch of little
he's just one of the suspended coaches. Don't worry about it.
Dude. Well, that's the other thing, too, is at this age, I don't know that I would even be the coach to say, hey, man, that guy's played short for 2 innings in a row. I don't care. They're 6 and 7. Like, let's just go out and play a game. Hitting is off the machine is a whole new thing. Using real baseballs now finally is a real thing. Let's protect them. Let's make sure they have fun. Get some good ABs.
I mean, how serious does this get? Do like coaches like secretly tick up the velocity against the other team?
No, because
you're feeding your own team.
Feeding the own team, but
slow it down a little bit. I mean, I assume there's a prescribed speed it's supposed to come in at for both teams. 40. Don't adjust the settings at all.
Well, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 kids that probably
hit better a little faster.
No,
slower.
A little bit slower.
Can you do that?
I think so. I
think
max
allowed to do
speed
that.
is 40.
But you can slow it down.
Yeah,
a little bit.
because there's a little knob that you turn. But yeah, man, I just it's just a lot. And again, baseball is hard enough for these kids to learn, and now you're adding different rules and playing different positions and everything else. So yeah, I'm glad to hear Tim Stauffer has the same issues that I do, and I know it's just going to get worse the older they get. I know it is. But I don't want to get suspended. Certainly.
No. Well, then you'd have plenty of time to watch college football on the weekend. So you ready for Ben's Super Saturday college football lineup?
I am.
All right, let's go. Now this is not the.
Are you ready for the football?
It's not the best weekend for college football action. In fact, the early Saturday window is actually kind of light. So I picked the game that I thought would actually be the most entertaining. 9 a.m. on ESPN tomorrow. Kansas at West Virginia. Big 12 opener.
That sounds absolutely riveting.
They're both 1-2. At least.
Wow. Holy crap. You are.
Well, all the other games are like Ohio State is favored by 38. I mean, I don't like watching blowouts.
This is a sales pitch of all sales pitches. So this is the one you pick. 2 1-2 teams.
Yeah,
Kansas and West Virginia.
But at least it's a 2-point spread. West Virginia's favored. And the over-under is 56.5, so expect it to be high scoring and close if you had to watch something.
All right, I'm sold.
All right, it gets a little better. 12:30 CBS, number 11 USC at number 11 Michigan.
Oh, that's a good one.
First ever Big Ten game.
Yeah.
For the USC Trojans, it comes at the Big House. Michigan obviously has the loss already, so they're 2-1. USC is undefeated, has a chance to move into the top 10, but they need to win on the road. This is a real test to start out your new Big Ten life for the USC Trojans by going and facing the defending national champions on the road in front of 110,000 people.
USC favored by 4 in this one. I don't know what Michigan's got left. They lost a ton of players, but the Big House is no joke, man. This is quite the indoctrination.
Did you see the story this week about Sharon Moore, the new coach at Michigan? And it took a while to figure out the contract because they wanted to make sure it was written in that if any violations come out now afterwards, you can't fire me for those that happened in the Jim Harbaugh era.
Wow. Really?
That's not suspicious at all.
No, not at all.
Like, just in case anything comes out, I want to make sure that I'm protected. I still get paid for my contract. You can't fire me.
Can we get that
That's
in our
not
next?
suspicious.
Can we get that in our next
We
contract?
don't need it. Nothing's going to come out. We didn't do anything wrong, Woods.
As far as you know.
All right, 4:30 ABC. You've got number 6 Tennessee
He's
at
passed
number
right
50.
over Notre Dame, Miami of Ohio. I see.
Yes, because they're playing Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
It's not that entertaining of a game. Or, I mean, it might be, but that would be bad. That would be very bad news again for... I assume they learned their lesson. They seem like they did last week against Purdue.
I think so.
I assume they're going to win by 50. So I picked Tennessee at Oklahoma. It's the first SEC game for OU. And they're both 3-0, so this is a big one for both teams. And it's 4:30. I think Tennessee is slight favorites, but it's a close one here. That should be a pretty good game for your late afternoon window. And then not much late night, no Pac-12 after dark anymore.
Nope.
So the 7:30 game is number 13 Kansas State at BYU. In the Big 12 is K-State's 3-0, BYU's 3-0. K-State is favored by 6 on the road.
Aztecs on a bye.
They're on a bye. They're off this week. USD is going for a 3-0 start.
Nice.
They're at North Dakota, which is a top 10 team. Scholarships and everything. Real test here to see how good maybe the Toreros are this year. But that's your college football Super Saturday lineup, courtesy of Ben Higgins this morning.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones in there. A couple jewels.
Yeah, middle of the day. That's
USC Michigan's that's great.
I think that one's interesting for sure. All right, we'll come back. We'll take a full look ahead at the Padres White Sox series, pitching matchups, and more as we get ready for the final home series of the season for your San Diego Padres. Next here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right, let's just say don't expect a ton of help again today if you're a Padres fan from other teams in the National League playoff race. You got 0 yesterday, and we'll take a look at the matchups coming up today, but they're not particularly favorable for a lot of help necessarily. We can talk about that. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits. Still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. All right, we'll come back and look at those matchups and the Padres matchup as well after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Well, for the most part, folks are doing a pretty good job of navigating our slick roadways. Yeah, we've had some scattered showers around the county, so definitely something to take into consideration. Continue to take it extra carefully out there, guys. Have your headlights on so you're more visible to other drivers. We've got just one problem here. It's a stalled motorcycle northbound side of the 805, just past Adams Avenue. It's over to the right shoulder. Viejas Casino and Resort is home to the best Players Club. In My Viejas, start earning points toward incredible rewards like free gifts, concert tickets, hotel stays, dining discounts, and more. It's time to ditch the other guys and join the best. The My Viejas Players Club, Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
To Woods, the Padres' magic number heading into today is
5.
5. There are two ways that they can lower that number. Either with a win or with a loss by the Atlanta Braves. And if both happen, you could get it down to 3. The Atlanta Braves open their series against the Miami Marlins tonight. Dodgers leave Miami. The Atlanta Braves take their place. 4:10 first pitch. Charlie Morton on the mound against Valente Beloso of the Miami Marlins. You know, I would imagine they will have, Skip Schumacher will have some pride and will want his team to bounce back after getting drubbed 20-4 yesterday, but they're not exactly coming in with a lot of momentum to this series either. Atlanta is in desperation mode. Not necessarily to catch the Padres, but they're 2 games behind both the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks, and time is running out. So they're looking sweep. They need to put on a winning streak at this point, so they'll be ready to play tonight. The New York Mets, they are taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Game 2 of that 4-game series at Citi Field. Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies. David Peterson, who's been very good this year for the Mets, although I think he lost his last time.
I think he did too.
Out. So possibly some help. That's an Apple TV game at 4:10 today. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks are in Milwaukee. Now, they beat Milwaukee yesterday. That's a tough series, but they do have their ace, Zach Gallen, on the mound against the former Padre, Colin Ray. That's a 5:10 first pitch in that game. So, yeah, I mean, Milwaukee could offer a little bit of help. Maybe if the Phillies could offer a little bit of help today would be nice, but I wouldn't count on any of it. Just take care of business tonight and get that magic number down to at least 4 at the end of the day.
And I loved our conversation with Shildt today. I did. There was one question I wanted to ask him, and it was like kind of sneaky the way I was going to ask it, right? So this is the last regular season home series at Petco Park, and what a year it has been, as you mentioned. Wanted to ask him, how important is it to you that this is not the last series at Petco Park? Meaning, is that really your main focus? Kind of what we talked about on the roundtable yesterday. You went around and said, what do they need to be focused on? Obviously, winning games goes without saying, but that first round home series against whoever the opponent may be, how important is that to you, Mike Shildt?
He kind of said, on Monday, he actually was asked something similar during the scrum when I was there, and he said what you kind of expect. Well, obviously you want to play at home,
sure.
But no matter, we played well on the road this year, and whatever happens, we expect you to go in and play well, and at some point, if you keep winning, you get back home.
Correct.
It's not like every series is on the road if you don't have home field advantage. It's only that first series.
That first series, though. That's kind of
that you'd have to play. But
that's kind of what.
Yeah, they want to play in front of the sold-out Petco Park crowd. They do play well on the road. They actually I think they still have a better road record than a home record this year. At the same time, I think it's more, that the other teams coming into Petco Park, that's a challenge, into that environment of coming on the road and having to play there. Not an insurmountable one, certainly, but it's definitely a bit of an advantage for the Padres.
And how lucky are we that, no matter what happens, really, Ben, this is a playoff team. That's really what it boils down to me. This is a playoff baseball team in a year that not a lot of people gave them a lot of hope for. I'm trying to keep sight of that as I keep my expectations kind of at bay. Do I let my mind wander? Yes. Yes, all the time. Daydreaming about what all kinds of things may look and sound like and who does what, certainly. But we are also in a position to where we are not sitting there tonight, not only worried about beating the White Sox, but praying to God that other teams lose so that we can back into the playoffs. That, in and of itself, is such a relief going into this weekend. Really. Like just knowing, hey, we're in. We're going to get in. We're going to get in. It could be ugly, it could be creaky, but we're getting in. We're playing playoff baseball this year. I'm trying to keep sight of that as a fan.
And then the other matchup, forgot to mention, the Rockies visiting the Dodgers tonight, first of 3 in L.A. According to ESPN, Kyle Freeland on the mound for the Rockies and undecided taking the hill for the Dodgers.
Call somebody up.
I don't know. A bullpen day. I mean, obviously it's a critical game for them.
They're still massive favorites.
That's the thing. You don't even have a pitcher, and they're still massive favorites, minus 250.
And by the way, I tweeted this morning, they're still the favorites to win the World Series. So, again, when somebody hits you with the underdog bit, it's not a good bit. It's not. It's not a good bit. You're not the underdog. You're, in fact, the opposite of the underdog. You're the favorite.
Quite frankly, the Padres aren't going to be underdogs in the eyes of a lot of people.
Correct.
In the playoffs.
Correct.
Even if they will technically, if they go up against the Dodgers, they might be the underdogs.
Oh, they will be.
But people are like, look, we talked about it with Jake Mintz in our 8 o'clock hour. He's like, I'm nervous about how many people around the country are picking the Padres.
Yeah. Why would the Padres be the underdogs in a series against the Dodgers?
because why are the Dodgers the favorites to win the World Series today?
Are they still the favorite?
I just looked. They're plus 350 to win the World Series.
They're the
number
one choice.
Yes.
Are people paying attention?
They're the number one betting choice to win the World Series. So
ahead of the Phillies,
ahead of everyone, ahead of every single team in baseball.
I am surprised by that. I must say,
I'm not. I'm not at all.
Again, yes, they have a dangerous lineup, but are they going to get? They have to get through a month with no pitching.
Do people say overdog?
I mean, yeah,
they're the overdog.
The Dodgers,
That's what they are.
The Dodgers absolutely
I've
can
got
beat anybody.
Odds to win the 2024 World Series plus 320 for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I got
plus
350.
430 for the Phillies.
Huh.
460 for the Yankees. Padres are down at plus 12.
Now, I'm not saying that the Dodgers can't win a series. They absolutely can. They have an unbelievable, lineup, dangerous baseball players. At some point, though, they're gonna run into a series where they don't have enough pitching. Whether it's a 5-gamer, 2 7-gamers, really? They're the favorites.
Mm-hmm. Keep it that way.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
American League is interesting, especially right now. Let's see. So the Detroit Tigers and Minnesota Twins are tied for the final wild card spot, and only like a game and a half game behind Kansas City, I think, for that second spot. So the Tigers are in Baltimore. Cater Montero against Corbin Burns. Montero just had a great start recently, but Burns is really good. And the Twins, who have been struggling, they're in Boston to take on the Red Sox. Twins have the tiebreaker, but the Tigers have the momentum, and they have the White Sox for their last 3 games. So everyone keeping an eye on that. The Royals host the Giants in Kansas City tonight as they play an interleague weekend series. So there's your key matchups of the day in Major League Baseball.
Well, and again, man, just try to keep your head on what the Padres do if they handle business this weekend against the White Sox, Benny. Going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I know those games against Arizona loom large if you don't handle business, but you can't look forward to that at all. I'm not too worried about the Dodger series. I don't know how much it's going to mean, if anything. So that's a good time to wouldn't that be weird? You lock up the home field advantage, the 1 seed in the wild card, and you're playing the Dodgers for 3, and you're like, gonna get some guys off their feet.
I don't think they can lock up anything. I mean, they can lock up a playoff spot, but I don't think they can lock up the home field in the first round until at least the middle of next week. So
those games after the Arizona game,
after the
Arizona,
after
series.
the Dodgers,
Dodgers
is first. Dodgers is first. So yeah, they will be meaningful games still
those
against
will.
the Dodgers.
Yep, I had them flipped. Yeah, that would make a lot
Dodgers
more sense.
are first, then the Diamondbacks. So
those could be huge then.
Yeah, this series against the White Sox is. You'd like to think in a perfect world that you can stomp through it, rest some of your guys. Yeah. Rest some of your bullpen. You're not going to need your higher leverage guys. But the reality is, and I will tell you this right now, at least one of the games, they will need their high leverage relievers. It will be close.
100%.
We will be stressed.
Yep.
Hopefully it's only one, and they do get a couple of easy wins, but it could easily be 2. They could easily lose 1 game. This is not going to be the cakewalk that we all hope it's going to be.
It never is.
And if I'm wrong, I will be so happy.
The happiest
wrongness I've ever been.
He hates, and if you know Ben, he does not like to be wrong.
Wow, this is the 3rd straight day the Padres have led by at least 6 runs after the 2nd inning. This is fantastic. I would love to be that wrong.
Happy to be wrong.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
They will at least have to face Garrett Crochet tonight. And in the early innings.
4 innings, but yes.
He will probably at least keep them in this game tonight, I would think. Joe will also pitch well, though, and I have no doubt that the Padres will do their thing, make Garrett Crochet work, get him out of the game on a pitch count. When you match the bullpens of these two teams, it's a lopsided.
It is affair.
Lopsided affair.
You guys going to any games?
I'm going to go on Sunday, I believe.
Nice.
On my way into work, at least for the first 6 innings.
The last
last game of the season.
Yep.
Paulie? Hopefully not the last game, but the last game of the regular season.
I've looked for tickets. No plans as of right now. May go down Saturday or Sunday if for whatever reason it was a clincher, but I.
And you're going tonight.
Don't know that that's likely.
Excited.
What's your last food item of the season, do you think?
Trying to watch my diet a little bit.
Okay.
But I want to have
Horia Tiki Bowl. You can go with the
what?
The Greek.
No,
Yeah, the one that Ella always talks about.
Get that. I'm gonna get.
Pretty good.
I might get the Grand Ole Barbecue pulled pork and then just eat the pork, not the bread.
Not the bread, not a
Maybe
sandwich.
a little bit of bread.
So you're gonna eat a
maybe
pulled
the whole
pork.
thing.
I'm gonna have pulled
You're
pork
gonna watch
sandwich.
your health with a pulled pork sandwich.
And a Sprite. Yeah, more than likely.
How did you gain all the weight?
Eating pulled pork sandwiches at Petco
Yes,
Park.
but I didn't eat 1/4 of the bread, so I'm being healthy today.
Maybe I just won't do the fries.
Oh, okay. There
Which
you
I
go.
can do.
Yeah,
That's no problem.
Yeah, or just have half the fries or 3/4 of the fries,
Or maybe just all the
Maybe
fries.
just have the fries. Yeah,
And then get some cotton candy or something.
Right.
Yeah. Cracker
And
Jack.
then only like a couple of scoops of ice cream.
Right.
Maybe the whole bowl.
I did see did they, when I was at Oracle, I saw these dudes walking through with the big, giant helmets. The giant helmets.
not a little helmet Sunday.
No.
Like a full-size
Like a big
helmet.
Of nachos. And I was like, God.
helmet
bless.
nachos.
It looked.
I must say,
incredible.
ever since you said you went to San Francisco and talked about that caramel corn you needed a fork to eat, I want to try that so badly.
It's ungodly, dude. It is ungodly.
I want that.
It's really good.
I want.
Yeah, you
I
have
want
to have
that
a fork.
caramel corn that needs a fork to be eaten.
It looks so good. It was so good. But
Are
those
there
nachos.
nuts or no nuts? No nuts.
No nuts.
Just caramel
Just
corn.
caramel
Oh
corn.
yeah, I want
Oh.
that. I want that.
Hand spun.
What does that mean?
They spin it with their hands.
Doesn't that get really sticky?
Yeah, I guess so. That's why they have to give you a fork to eat it with. It is so elite.
I would not want that job.
So elite. All right.
Ah,
We don't have time for anything Ben likes.
that's fine.
No.
I would like 3 wins this weekend.
What
I'm
happens
sorry.
on Monday? 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3.
Oh,
1
Roach.
out of 3.
Roach.
Kiss.
Oh, yeah, we did it yesterday. We didn't even have a game.
I know. You got to keep it going.
Roachy.
3 kisses for 3 wins.
I like that. Carry one in my wallet.
It's a good idea.
Let's get out of here.
All right. Well, one way or another, we'll be back on Monday, hopefully in a good mood and not despondent after what happened this weekend. I do have some good news, though. Padres fans coming up this afternoon on the Gwynn and Chris Fryer Friday. Manny Machado will be joining
Come on.
Tony Gwynn Jr. and
Let's
Matthew
go.
Scraby.
I love
They're just
it.
waiting for Elo to go on vacation. Manny's
I mean,
gonna-
Elo's got to be like, are you
ready.
kidding
What?
me?
I go, and now Manny's coming
Now
on the
Manny's
show
on.
today. So
Oh,
listen in this afternoon,
I
starting
was
at
like,
2
patch
o'clock.
me in from the Caribbean.
100%.
Manny Machado on Fryer Friday. Annie and Elston are coming up next. For Paulie and Woods, I'm Ben. Have a great weekend from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.